WZYE 95.9 FM.
Yes, 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 yes. Let me say a special hello to all the WZYE 95.9 FM listeners, of course, ladies and gentlemen. It's In the Village with Uncle Tommy, Professor Wall Street, and you on WZYE 95.9 FM. And of course, ladies, we come to you every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. That's Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. And folks, yes, yes, we are here early tonight because we're going to start at 7 p.m. streaming the crime event out of Chaguanas, Trinidad and Tobago, the UNC crime event. So, folks, of course, as we always say, you know, we originate, we don't imitate. Once you get in, share the live, WZYE 95.9 FM on Facebook. Subscribe, WZYE TV and YouTube. And you can reach us here at 973-868-1444. That's 973-868-1444. And I want to start with, this is a new one from Caribbean Soul. Take a listen.
Welcome to WZYE TV 95.9 FM. We come to you every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. And on Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. on Let's Talk Politics. Like, share and subscribe to keep up to date with reality affecting your life. And as we always say, we bring the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
And there you go, man. Caribbean Soul, you're inside, boy. I'm bringing Tommy.
Watax, Caribbean Soul in like Flint.
You ain't like Flint, boy. He large and in charge, boy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a serious player.
Yeah. He big in the dance. He big in the dance. Let me do something. Let me send myself hold on, let me see. Okay, here it is. This is it. Let me copy that. Let me send that to myself so I could open it up. Okay, no. Here we go. Compose. That here. Link. Wall Street. Okay.
Also, my number is working. That's 973-609-6509. 973-609-6509.
There you go. And folks, the reason why we started early tonight is because we are going to be streaming
the town hall
event out of
Chaguanas.
Yes, there we go. Right. So hold on, folks. Hold on. Let me see this. We got that there. I think we want to go share screen. Anti-crime event. Share. Okay. All right. Okay, so we just wait until it's ready. All right. Okay, folks, there you have it. So yes, folks, what we're gonna do, we are gonna be streaming the anti-crime town hall meeting as soon as it starts at 7 p.m. You can see in the background, you know, we have the flyer in the background. So Tommy, things just continue. Yeah, let me see. Matilda Rhodes, welcome. Yeah, Matilda Rhodes, she have an emoji up there, boy. So Tommy, the thing just continues. Yeah, the thing just continues. I want to make sure. Hold on, Let me do something. Okay. All right. So I'll have it here, and whenever it starts, we just go directly to it. So Tommy, how was your day?
Well, it was quite good so far, I must say. How was your day?
Tommy, today, boy, I did a 6 miler.
Wow. You're
I did
stepping
six
up your
miles.
game. You're stepping up your game.
Yeah. The game has changed. So I just wonder. It's like if, but I just enjoy doing it. I'll be honest with you. It's very enjoyable. I enjoy going out there and you know challenging myself. That's what I'll say. Because it's always a challenge when you go out there, by yourself, to run. But I can't complain. So I'm talking to you and I'm sharing this thing one time.
Don't worry.
As
I'm
we speak. Yeah. So
talking to
Tommy,
you.
you hear the new election gimmick, right?
What is it?
Wait, food cards, boy.
Suddenly?
Yeah. You're getting food card and thing now, boy. Y- y- You know? But you had to give the fella credit though, eh? And then the divers gain a million each, Tommy.
Well, the election had to come for that to come.
Yeah. Another election gimmick. Yeah? All the past 2 to 3 years, they ain't get nothing.
They ain't get even a peep.
An election coming all of a sudden, they gain something. Them brave,
What they should do is take it and still take them out.
Correct is right. Take it. Yeah? Take it. But I'm going to the chat quick, before we because we I don't know we going to the stream. Hey, but who is this? Multi Nanan? Where Multi was in since 11:18 a.m. Tommy. What? What, boy?
Let me put on my glasses and check.
Yeah. Mr. Intellectual, welcome. Blessed evening, Pro Uncle T and all villagers. Hope you all had a transformative Thursday. Shanika, welcome. Good evening, Wall Street and Tommy, also in the village. Also, all in the village. Hope you all are having a wonderful day. Blessings. Yeah. Yeah, Robinson, you're right, boy. Believe it or not, Young now knows about the four diverse family need some sort of compensation. PNM took away the food cards. Yeah, but I mean, you wouldn't believe it. You would not believe it that all in a sudden, Tommy, is it that I think though, Tommy, that what he is showing is how brutal Prime Minister Rowley was, though. I mean, we know his election gimmick, but Prime Minister Rowley, I think, stated that he couldn't give the divers any money because of the litigation they were involved in. Right? But all of a sudden, Stuart Young, right? It doesn't matter to him that they are involved in any litigation. So,
But they had an adequate chance long before the litigation started to do something about it, and they never did anything. That's why they had to resort to litigation.
all right, Tommy, let's go to this stream right now. I think it started. Let's go.
Turn up the volume.
Yeah.
Vote for hope, vote for change. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. One team, one hope, one dream. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Vote for peace, vote for love, vote for hope, vote for change. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, now is the time to rise and shine. Tell your mother, tell your father, now is the time to decide. If you want leaders who can build, place your ex by the rising sun. If you want leaders who can lead properly, place your ex by the rising sun. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Vote for peace, vote for love, vote for hope, vote for change. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins.
All right, folks, we just turned on the volume. We just turned on the volume. Let me say welcome to Volsang. Volsang, welcome. Welcome. Caribbean Soul says, all UNC supporters better advocate for that Wall Street 11th Empowerment Center from UNC. Let's show the PNM supporters we are different. Yeah? Caribbean Soul says Wall Street wouldn't be here forever. Let's fight for something or leave a legacy behind so we could remember this program. Yeah? Matilda Rose, good night to you. George Ramdeen, welcome. Denise boy, Denise, you're back, boy. Denise G, welcome. So, folks, as we wait for the stream to start, it's just playing at the beginning. Full song say good evening, Soul, Hanif, Shanika. We just do it different here, yeah, folks. All you know that we do it different, right? We could stream and we could talk at the same time. You understand? So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Come over here at WZY 95.9 FM. You could converse in the chat while we talking, while we watching the stream. Yeah? We tell all you know, we originate, we don't imitate. Yeah, so we was just talking about Tommy.
George Romano. No,
Huh?
Ramsey. Oh, I see George Ramsey. I thought about George Romano.
Oh, you thought it was George Romano. George Ramdeen, welcome. Yeah. Yeah, but you know, Tommy, um, the big thing today was the Prime Minister now going to improve food cards. You remember back in 2021 when the Minister of Minister of Social
Development.
Minister of Social Development say some greedy, some needy. Remember
Yep.
that?
Yep.
Yeah, people forget that, you know. People forget that, boy. And now all of
Suddenly,
us, go ahead.
suddenly the song changed.
This all changed. Now all of a sudden, they ain't greedy no more, you know, but they needy. And the Prime Minister now, after 9 years sitting down, well, all them years he sit down in the Prime Minister office, he didn't notice? I guess he did not. I guess he did not know all of this. Let me check something. Oh, that's why. Okay.
Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, now is the time to rise.
All right. I know what happened. All right. I get it. We go play the audio from the stream itself. So yeah, Tommy, all on a sudden, all on a sudden, and there's one other thing he said too, you know. What was the other thing he said, boy? Um, I have the video, but I want to play the video. Yeah? Robin Singh, welcome. Welcome, Volt PNM feeling the pressure. Yeah. Blow up the like button, man. You all blow it up. Dane Khan, welcome. Good evening, Professor Wall Street, Uncle Tommy and the villagers. Yeah. Caribbean Soul, we ain't sticking, you know. We had to send number 9. But Caribbean Soul, away, listen to this, eh? Listen to this. Folks, this is Caribbean Soul on, eh? Listen to this one, oh, folks.
Welcome to WZYE TV 95.9 FM. We come to you every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. And on Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. on Let's Talk Politics. Like, share and subscribe to keep up to date with reality affecting your life, and as we always say, we bring the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yeah, that Caribbean Soul, you're inside, man. You're large and in charge, boy. Yeah. That is how it does go. You know? That is how it does go, folks. So as we wait for it to start, yeah, Caribbean Soul bringing the fire, boy.
He could send us the 9 accomplishment now while we wait.
Yeah. Send the voice note 9 accomplishment. Yeah, that's a good idea. Send it now. So we could play it. Using Kamala wall statics, pretending he wasn't there for the past 10 years. Correct is right, Dane Khan. All of a sudden, you know people, all of a sudden, you want to give the divers 1 million each after 2 to 3 years? Where's that one? Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You try Kamala.
Say that again?
You trying to Kamala wall statics.
Yeah. He was sitting on in the belly of the beast all the time. Trinidad Margot, boy, welcome. Yeah? Let me see who it is. Trinidad Margot. Salma P. J. Raj, welcome. Well, Dane Khan, you're already inside. Yeah. Gordon Joseph said, good evening to this village. I hope you and yours are doing good or better. If you want to know how good or bad our country is, ask Wall Street to fact check Afghanistan, the Congo, and Gaza. I can put up more places, but I don't want to overwork the fact check boss that I'm still waiting on his football goalpost truth. Listen. All right. Yeah. Robin, it have more pressure for them to come. Keep them screws. Yeah, boy. Trinidad Margot, boy. Another original, I know, Tommy. Hello, gentlemen. Good evening. Trinidad Margot in Florida, you know.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, folks. Let's go here.
I would like to now invite Bishop Philip to lead us in a word of prayer.
I must say pleasant good evening to the political leader, next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. And I want us to have one thing in mind before we pray. If you could say after me, no weapon formed against us can prosper. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thine will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Almighty and everlasting God, look over us, pray over us, keep us, walk with us. Let not our slippery footsteps slide, but guide and console us. In no other name, but in Jesus' almighty name. In no other name, but in Jesus' almighty name. In no other name, but in Jesus' almighty name.
Thank you very much. You can take your seats. My name is Saddam Hussein. I am the former Member of Parliament for Barataria San Juan, and I will be the next Member of Parliament for Barataria San Juan. And this evening, my task is to moderate this town hall hosted by the United National Congress on the topic of crime in your community. And standing on the stage, if you stand where I am, you will see that there are over 1,000 persons gathered at the Centerpoint Auditorium in Chaguanas. And if you look at the entranceways, you will see more and more persons coming to this town hall. It shows the interest, it shows the support that United National Congress has in this April 28th general election. The panelists for this evening's town hall, firstly, I would like to introduce the political leader and the opposition leader of Trinidad and Tobago, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar. And we all know she will be the next Prime Minister on April 28th. To the right of the political leader is Mr. Roger Alexander, no stranger to us. And Mr. Roger Alexander is the prospective UNC candidate for Tunapuna and the next Member of Parliament for Tunapuna. To the left of the political leader is Dr. Tim Gopi Singh, former Member of Parliament for Caroni East and former Minister of Education. So on behalf of the United National Congress, we'd like to thank all of the panelists that are here with us this evening. So to start the program, I would just give some brief introductory remarks in terms of the topic that we are dealing with here in terms of crime and criminality. And they gave me a sheet to introduce myself. And they said it's a brilliant young attorney with significant experience in civil and criminal law. But we're not going down there tonight in terms of that. So those of you all who know me, you will know that I was one of the shadow Ministers of National Security and Attorney General and Ministry of Legal Affairs in the 12th Republican Parliament. And the government would have brought several pieces of crime-fighting legislation to the Parliament. Time and time again, you would hear that there was a narrative that UNC did not support the government in the crime-fighting legislation. That is absolutely untrue. The parliamentary records will reflect that the UNC opposition supported over 35 pieces of crime-fighting legislation. We proposed several amendments to ensure that the laws that we were making were proper, fit, and good laws for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And again, we told the government that, it's not about just passing laws is the issue. You have to have a holistic approach in terms of crime fighting. And crime fighting is not just going into the parliament, saying you're going to do this, but yet you have several sectors that are failing. One being education and training. Two being the court system, which is the criminal justice system. And that is something I want to focus briefly on here this evening. In terms of that particular issue, we have said in United National Congress that we have had a manifesto. The political leader throughout a few months past was going to each and every constituency outlining the plans of the United National Congress. But tonight, I just want to remind you of some of the issues that we face. In the constituency of Barataria San Juan, we also are plagued with crime and criminality. I want you all to remember on November 29th, Ashanti Riley. You all remember Ashanti Riley? Ashanti Riley was from Sunshine Avenue. That is in the constituency of Barataria San Juan. And you understood, and the nation was shocked of the condition that Miss Riley's body was found. The political leader at that time, together with the United National Congress, stood with the family of Ashanti Riley and also Andrea Barrett. And those are some of the things that happened to our young women for the last 10 years under this uncaring, incompetent PNM government. There was another incident where a community man, a pundit in El Socorro South, was held up and robbed at his home of $40,000 on April 28, 2023. During midday, the man was at his home at Temple Street when three armed men in a white Nissan B14 Sentra stopped outside, stormed into his home, and announced a holdup. Police said the bandits took $40,000 in cash and ran. There was an attempted assassination of the Commissioner of Prisons, Sherwin Bruce, bodyguard, on the 12th of October 2023 in Barataria. There was also on All Year's Day the kidnapping of the daughter-in-law of a very prominent businessman in Barataria, San Juan. There have been several shootings. We have called on the government to introduce several initiatives, soft, easy approaches such as CCTV cameras. You will hear the political leader, Dr. Rudal Munilal, saying that if we have thousands and thousands of eyes on the road with the technology, we can detect these criminals so that you wouldn't have during broad daylight. I don't know if you all saw what happened in the Real Spring yesterday with a video that is circulating in Valsain where there was an attempted home invasion. Today, walking my constituency on the Saddle Road, I was told by one of the business owners that they were robbed 14 times and their home was invaded this year. This is the reality that the PNM has placed us because they have trampled upon the criminal justice system. And when the UNC wins, we will fix the criminal justice system. We will fix it. The record will show that every single time that the UNC is in power, what happens to crime? It goes. And when the PNM is in power, what happens? The crime goes all the way up. You would remember and you would hear us in the parliament asking, bumbling Mr. Fitzgerald Hines about the Coast Guard vessels, and he cannot tell us how many are working. That is because we have information that they had no larger vessels patrolling our borders. Hence, you had an influx of illegal Venezuelan immigrants, drugs, guns, and ammunition into the country. We don't manufacture firearms in Trinidad and Tobago, yet that is the #1 killing weapon used by the criminals. How it is getting here? It is getting here because of the porous borders, the mismanagement and incompetence of the last PNM administration. And I said last because they will be the last PNM administration. One area of the criminal justice system that I want to touch on also deals with forensic. There have been thousands and thousands of cases in the Forensic Sciences Center that cannot reach the courthouse, and you require that evidence in order to have your cases started and the prosecution started. That is not being done. But in the UNC, we have plans and we have policies. I'll give you one tonight, and the political leader will give you more. We are going to restructure the Ministry of National Security by splitting it into the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Ministry of Defense, because we understand you need to have micromanagement within the affairs of national security. Imagine they had Minister Hines taking care of your national security for the last 10 years. We are going to restructure it. We are going to make sure it works, and we are going to make you safe again. Another one, we are going to ensure that we have stand your ground laws, in new laws in relation to home invasion, and to make it easier for law-abiding citizens to access firearm users' license. And these are some of the plans that we have here in the United National Congress. They have no plans, and they will have no plans, because when we form the next government on April 28th, we will ensure that Trinidad and Tobago is safe again. Tonight, it is my distinct honor and privilege to invite the political leader of the United National Congress and the opposition leader to address this mammoth gathering in terms of the UNC's plans and our way forward with dealing with crime and criminality in our community. So I ask you to welcome the political leader, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa of Senior Counsel.
Thank you all very much. I think you can do better than that, UNC family. Thank you very much. Fellow panelists here, we are very honored to have Dr. Tim Gopi Singh, a very tried, tested, experienced person. Please give him a round of applause. The young, dynamic, experienced now MP, former MP Saddam Hussein, and the new incoming Member of Parliament for Tunapuna, Mr. Alexander. Thank you very much. Thank you. I know there are many of you here, and I acknowledge and recognize every single one of you, and thank you for coming out tonight. Councillors, aldermen, former MPs, candidates, and just activists. And we say UNC family, but also friends of the UNC, because over the time we've gained, yes, the UNC family has now gained many, many more friends. So welcome the family of the UNC and the friends of the UNC. As you know, tomorrow is nomination day. And for everybody who worried, let not your heart be troubled. Tomorrow, all 39 candidates of the UNC and the Coalition of Interests will file their nomination papers as we go forward. And then it will be onwards to victory. So we look forward to your support for every candidate. And you know, we work as a team. There is no force on earth can stop us. As Reverend prayed for us, no weapon formed against us can ever prosper. So thank you. Tonight I announce for Arangwas St. Joseph, Devish Mirage, we have named him before. For Arima, Nigel Moses. For Aruka Lopino, Dr. Natalie Chaitan Mirage. Barataria San Juan, Saddam Hussein. Carney Central, Dr. David Lee. Carney East, Dr. Rishi Sicharan. Chaguanas East, Vandana Mohit. Thank you. For Chaguanas West. This one is a new name to you, but not new to our party. He's been with our party for over 30 years. Dr. Colin Neil Bosine. Claxton Bay, which used to be Pointe-a-Pierre, Hansen Narayan Singh. Couva South, Barry Padarath. Komoto Manzanilla, Shivana Sam. Diego Martin Central, Kieran Thomas. Diego Martin Northeast, Brendan Butts of the PP. Diego Martin West, Janet Lamond of the PP. Faizabad, Dave Tanku. Labre, Clyde P.E. Elder. La Hoqueta, Talparo, Philip J. Watts. I see Mr. Watts has brought his fan base and his sharing crowd. That's good to know. Laventille East Morva, Robert Mitchell. Laventille West, Rodney Stowe. Malabar, Mosika, Dominic Smith. Mayaro, Wilfred Nicholas Morris. Maruga Tableland, Michelle Benjamin. Naparima, Dr. Narendra Rupnarayan. Oropuch East, Dr. Rudal Munilal. Oropuch East also has a cheering crowd. Wonderful. Oropuch West, Dr. Lakram Bodo. Point 14, Ernesto Keza on a UNC ticket, but representing the OWTU. Portisville North, St. Anne's West. Philip Alexander of the PP. Portisville South, Kurt Sinet of the COP. Princess Tongue, Dr. Ayana Ali. San Fernando East, John Michael Ali Bocas. San Fernando West, Dr. Michael Dowlath. St. Anne's East, Gerald Small. St. Augustine, Khadija Amin. Tabakit, Sean Sobers. Toko Sandy Grandi, Wayne Sturge. Trin City, Maloney, Richard Smith. Tunapuna, Roger Alexander. Couva North, Jillian John. Thank you all. And for Superior, Kamala Prasad Visesa. So thank you all very much. Thank you all so much. And let's thank all the persons who put in nominations to represent our great party. Let's give all nominees a round of applause, please. And thank them and recognize and take the assurance there'll be a space and a place for every single body. Everybody wins when the UNC wins. Tonight, we're here to make some short presentations as we talk about, I think, the scourge of crime, the fear that our citizens are living in at this time. And we're here also to listen to you. We want to hear comments. Most times we come on a platform and we talk down to you. But you realize that UNC, we're doing things different. We need to hear from you. We appreciate your comments. So after we speak, each of us of the panelists, we will take your questions and your comments. So I look forward to hearing from you. I've always said that the voice of the people is the voice of God. Vox populi, vox Dei. The voice of the people is the voice of God. So, will you talk to us tonight? I look forward to that. Now, everybody in this country is lying on a bed of needles or bed of thorns because of the fear and terror of crime. Every day, we are burdened by the increasing stress, which strips us of peace of mind, which strips us of happiness in our lives. Now, you must have heard the phrase, death by 1,000 cuts. Have you heard that? Deaths by 1,000 cuts. Do you know what it means? If it's 10 p.m. at night and you see a strange car stop in front of your home for a few minutes, you instantly become stressed. You feel a heaviness in your chest because you become fearful. That is a cut. The heaviness in your chest stays until that car leaves. Then a few minutes after the strange car leaves, you wonder if they were coming to scout out your home, to return later and commit a home invasion, and the heaviness in your chest returns. That is another cut. When you must open your front gate in the morning to leave your home, you're fidgety until that gate is closed and you are in your vehicle. That is another cut. What about if you don't have a gate? That is another cut. When you know business in your community, businesses in your communities are being extorted and you are afraid to open your business because of the fear that the gangs will extort you, that too is a cut. When the criminals extort your businesses every week, but the government is talking about what? Coat of arms, refusing to give you legal firearms and stand your ground legislation, that is another cut. When your wife and children go out to work or school, nighttime approaches and they have not returned, 1,000,000 terrible thoughts go through your mind, that is another cut. When you send your children to school, they're bullied every day relentlessly, and the state does nothing to stop it. You see a child go from a happy, bubbly child to becoming reclusive, to becoming suicidal, to becoming depressed and terrified. That is another cut. If you feel a pain as a parent to see what became of your child, that is another cut. That is why we see some parents go out and beat the crap out of some of these school bullies. We do not agree that that is right, but it's because of the daily cuts of seeing their children suffering and no one doing anything. That's another cut. I could go on all night about the cuts we are getting, cut after cut after cut after cut, because of crime. That's death by 1,000 cuts. You can see and smell the blood. The government is cutting and cutting and cutting into you and your families. They're taking and taking and taking. We must now say enough is enough. Enough is enough. We have to say enough is enough. They don't want to listen to you. They don't want to hear you. They don't want to hear your problems and your affairs. They don't listen to you to understand what everyday life is like for real people. And therefore, we say it's time for people-centered UNC government. When the April 28th comes, we go out and you cast that vote next to the rising sun. Since September 2015, this government has allocated $67 billion to national security. They have spent a total of over $530 billion, over $500 billion. The question is, where has that money gone? Where has that money gone? The evidence shows that the UNC posed no obstacle Saddam mentioned it to about 41 bills related to crime fighting that have passed through the parliament. But the issue is not about passing legislation alone. It is about implementation of that legislation. And that is where this government fails. All talk, no action. I remember one of my officers, Sarah is her name, she said, NATO. No action, talk only. That's the PNM. On the Parliament website, there is proof that we have supported the government in the Parliament with bills brought to act against crime. This government has misplaced priorities. This government lacks the capacity and operational capability to implement any plan. No amount of mamagai will change the fact that our country's money is not being used to benefit you, to benefit citizens of our land. Still, instead, the PNM has systematically been making the rich richer and the poor poorer for the past 10 years while fueling a violent crime crisis. And they think their propaganda and smear campaign will fool you. Do you know that one person is murdered every 16 hours in this country? One person every 16 hours. One person is reported missing every 12 hours. Brutal home invasions where citizens are beaten and tortured every day. Robberies, rapes, woundings, shootings have besieged the nation. There have been about 5,000 murders since the PNM came into government in 2015. 5,000 murders. The slaughter continues in spite of the state of emergency. And I pause here to say that state of emergency is soon going to an end. So if it is so ghastly with crime, what will happen when that SOE ends very shortly? The PNM ministers and their families, I want to remind you, they roll around with blue lights. They have armed security while you remain unprotected. Tonight, I want to give a commitment to you that within 6 months of the UNC returning to government, if there is no improvement in the efficiencies of the justice system and national security, I will give instructions to begin the reduction and removal of all taxpayer-funded security details, both police and private forms, of all those in authority. If citizens must face criminals unprotected daily, then those in authority will have to do the same if they cannot perform their jobs. So we will be there to ensure that they do their jobs. And otherwise, their security will be removed. Let them face what the people face every single day in our country. With no security details, you know what we can do? We can reassign these unnecessary security details to focus on actual police work for citizens. Some details, there was a man with this shorty man, I think he had a detail, a huge detail, forests, many of them, huge security details, whilst many of you remain unprotected and your children, your families unprotected. So with no security details, no bus route passes, those in authority and their families will face the same risks of crime and traffic as everyone else if they do not perform their duties and do their jobs, and we bring the crime down and they make the country better. Young and the PNM are giving you hours of smears, insults, fake promises that they could not implement in 10 years of government. You couldn't do it in 10 years, Sioti. You were in the office of the Prime Minister, you were the riding partner, the golfing partner, what do you call them? The gopher. Everywhere Rowley went, Stuart went. And Stuart served as a Minister of National Security, remember that? He served in the office of the AG. So don't tell me you didn't know about crime and fighting crime. He served as a Minister of Energy. in all these years. And now they want to tell us, as I say, all these fake promises they could not implement in 10 years of government. Hours of talk, nothing about lowering food prices. No amount of lies, I'm telling you. Hours of talk, promises. You know, I always told you, PNM means what? Promises never materialize. 10 years of promises. You know, somebody gave me a piece of paper today. And in that was a photograph of the sod turning 5 years ago, before the election, that last 2020 election. 5 years ago, turning sod with Farris and some other people down for the San Fernando Wharf. 5 years later, guess what? Nothing. Nothing has changed. Nothing has been implemented. And 5 years later, guess what? Saturday, on the eve of the elections, they're going and do a walkthrough on another sod turning ceremony. You didn't do it in 5 years. You can't fool people again. No one is believing anything they say and do. So I'm saying hours of talk, nothing about senior citizens. Hours of talk, nothing about generating more revenue. Hours of talk, nothing about job creation for the thousands of unemployed persons in our country. Hours of talk and no mention of the $3 billion missing that the Auditor General told us about. Hours of talk and nothing credible about crime fighting. And I talk about it already, the 5,000 murders, the home invasions, the extortions, the rapes and the robberies. It is time, I say, for people-centered UNC governance to return so that you can feel safe and secure. No amount of lies, no amount of lies, I'm telling you. Hours of talk and no amount of lies and smears about the UNC will save this government this time. We have to vote them out. We have to vote them out. So, I say no amount of cries. They have no money for national security equipment. Inspector Alexander will tell us a little more about that as well, about the challenges that our TTPS and the protective services face. Almost 300 million is spent where? And they have the gall and the temerity to ask me, where will I get the money to carry out the plans and policies? Well, there'll be no 300 million in rent to Faris Al-Rawi. There'll be none. So they can't find money to buy police vehicles, to buy bulletproof vests, or to even buy supplies for the police stations. I don't want to embarrass any police officer, but I'm told they have to walk to work with toilet paper. They have to walk with paper to print things on. They don't have those burn books. They don't have the paper, basic paper. But one man collecting what? Millions in rent. Another one has given over $4 billion in financing contracts to his brother, Stuart Young, to their company, but no money for the CCTV cameras, no money for breathing equipment for firefighters. But this is where the money goes. And we have the list of the scandals. We'll spend more time another day. I think you're familiar with most of them. Starting from way back when they came into office, so-called disease, paintings, and the list goes on and on, but no money to properly equip our protective services. And then you turn around and do what? Blame them. You blame them, and then you blame the UNC in the parliament, saying we didn't support your laws. And as I said, the parliament website will show you that is, you hear lie? That is total lie. That is lie. That is lie. During my term in office as your prime minister, 2010 to 2015, a primary goal was to improve the crime situation substantially. To do this, my government adopted a holistic approach. I talk of holistic approaches encompassing various aspects, including reviewing and reforming our laws, operational strategies, social policies, and more. We acknowledge that addressing crime extends, as I say, beyond policing and legal actions alone, legislation. The comprehensive governance components in addressing crime really goes down to social welfare, healthcare, business development, employment opportunities, and education. That's why Dr. Tim is with us tonight as well on the platform, to help us talk about education and the children of our land so that we can keep them out of a life of crime and make them better citizens to serve our nation. Ms. Alexander will talk about areas dealing with law enforcement, and Saddam will speak and has spoken some to do with the criminal justice system, justice reform. So it's not just about going to Parliament and pass law and crying every time. And I'm saying in my time in office, our goal was to increase and improve crime fighting in our country. And I said we adopted a holistic approach. The comprehensive governance components, as I said, social welfare, healthcare, business development, employment opportunities, and education. These main sectors collectively influence the crime rate and a whole of life strategy. Whole of life strategy. I want you to understand that. Whole of life strategy. You know, that's what you have the expression from the cradle to the grave. From the cradle to, that is why we gave the mothers the baby grant, so that child from the cradle will not starve. The mother will not have to run out to try to steal a tin of milk in the supermarket. From the cradle to the grave. And that is why we increase the old age pension not once but twice, senior citizens, you know. Because from here, and then throughout the school system, we had programs and policies to help our children during their school years. And then I'm saying Mr. Stuart Young has told the country that he is going to remove tax on pensions for public servants. That fella is shameless. He's shameless. And you must understand, I warn you, and I say if he serves one day as a prime minister, he is going to get $1 million in pension per year. 1 million. One day. And so said, so done. He was sworn in this day, one day, and next day what? Parliament dissolved, election called. $1 million for him in pension. $1 million for Rowley in pension. So when he comes to talk about taking away the taxes on pensions, he fixing himself. He fixing his partners. He fixing Rowley. Don't get fooled. Don't get chained up this time with those promises. Again, promises never materialize from the PNM. But should he win, that promise will happen because he will give himself the tax break. He will give himself the tax break. So I'm saying for us to go forward, that whole of life approach is very vital. So we can't just tell policemen or the defense force or others, look, run down criminal here, there, and everywhere. No, it cannot be a helter-skelter way of fighting crime. Much of the positive progress we achieved was due to working policies we implemented 2010 to 2015. Over the last 10 years, this regression occurred because some implemented and work initiatives were allowed to lapse into dormancy, while others were deliberately terminated. And therefore, some of these we'll bring back to the fore in the fight against crime. So I'll give you some examples. In the public domain, some of these included, guess what? The community comfort patrols. They shut down the community comfort patrols we had instituted. They have gutted out the National Operations Center. They have gutted out the CCTV camera system, which is so vital that you can see what's happening, and before it happens, you can take preventive measures. It's not just that you take action after the crime has occurred. You have to have preventive measures, which is talking about the school system and others. Prevention. Then you have the justice system, and then you have rehabilitation. All these are fundamental. A clear plan to deal with the fight against crime. Now, the UNC has a collaborative effort which will result in the development of a clear plan with specific details for moving forward. Particular plans are outlined in what we have now done. We are calling them manifestos, and I'll show one to you in a minute. But whatever we can't say to you tonight because of time constraints, please go up on the UNC website. Everything is there on the website. So we have these manifestos. I have caused these to be printed, and you will get one before you leave. This sets out the plans for us. The UNC will tackle the crime crisis with intelligence, competence, and purpose. The UNC manifesto on crime fighting. Together with this is the criminal and civil justice system, which is in a mess. The UNC will fix it together with our coalition partners. And this is our UNC manifesto on criminal and justice reform in Trinidad and Tobago. So we are not about NATO, no action talk only. We have specific plans. Others are speaking in general terms. We have very specific plans, and of course, we welcome your input. And the other one here, Ministry of Education is a key leader in formulating the UNC Strategic National Development Plan, the UNC Manifesto on Education Policy Directions. We have all three of these, which our panelists are dealing with tonight, and we will roll out these for others. But again, I'm saying we have everything on the UNC's website. So what do you say to the UNC? This is a manifesto, put in very simple terms. Yes, we'll have the big manifesto of many, many pages which many people don't read, but we have reduced this in a very simple way to allow you to read and access and know what some of our plans are. So I thank you very much again. Okay then, I will come to an end shortly, and then my other panelists will take it up. So we have particular plans outlined in separate manifestos. Our plans cover management and resource challenges in agencies responsible for national security, addressing legislative deficiencies and civil and criminal justice reforms, including addressing challenges in the judiciary regarding efficient functioning, crime prevention and rehab strategies, such as budgetary and policy preferences, will also be laid out. Multi-sectoral initiatives for a UNC whole-of-life approach, some call it a holistic approach to crime reduction, addressing political interference in formally independent institutions and the national security apparatus. Interference. There has been undue interference by this Rowley-Stewarty government. Remember, Stewart is just the other side of the same coin, you know. Rowley-Stewart is the same coin. And therefore, they have been interfering. We've given several examples along the course of the way, and more to come, of interference in our independent institutions. That must come to an end. That must stop on the 28th. Let us make sure that we move them out. We aim to work with all stakeholders in the interests of our country and its citizens. Any progress to be made for the future security and safety of our country, we must buy into, all of us, the proposed plans and policies and offer us your own. The average citizen may be cynical, but I truly believe that progress will be made once the collective stakeholders are involved. The fight against crime cannot be guided by emotional responses to praise or criticize, or just adherence to nonsensical biases. It must be guided by clear, compelling, and logical, structured plans, operationally implemented by a competent management team drawn from the broadest possible selection of experts. Tonight, I've offered you 39 persons to form the government. And this team will be the competent team that can help us not just with the fight against crime, but also in all sectors. We'll be rolling out our plans. Some of these anti-crime ones we have already rolled out. Others, as I say, coming forward. And I want to thank you all again and to ask you, please, share with us your thoughts and your opinions. May God continue to bless each and every one of you. And when you leave here, go safely with the grace of God. I thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, political leader. And that is how a prime minister of a country has to sound. Not like some fella quarreling on the promenade last night. From the Parliament's records, there was a Joint Select Committee report that has confirmed that it costs the state $15,000 per month to maintain one prisoner. And our remand yard is filled, and that is going to, I'm just giving you that figure to just show how much money we spend on having prisoners within the prison system, and some of them are staying in there over 9 to 10 years at a rate of $15,000 per month. That is why one of the UNC's plan going forward is to ensure that there's an amendment to the law for an accused person to have a trial within a reasonable time. And one of the men who was responsible for bringing the criminals to justice is former Senior Superintendent of Police, who was last assigned to the Anti-Extortion Unit. He was a popular co-host of Beyond the Tape television program on TV6. He led the fight against drug trafficking gangs in Port of Spain and was featured in a 2014 Vice News documentary on corruption, cocaine, and murder in Trinidad. It is my distinct honor and privilege to bring to this platform Roger Alexander to speak to us on crime and a holistic approach going forward.
Greetings. Let me say good night today, good evening to my UNC family. And a special good evening to the Honorable Leader of the United National Congress, the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Ms. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, SC. Also, our invited guest, Mr. Tim Gopi Singh, former parliamentarian. Also, Mr. Saddam Hussein, colleague. Members of the public, crime is no easy fix. We have a number of persons sitting here today, and I know you can't wait to take the mic, victims of crime. Family who have suffered at the hands of the criminal element and still waiting for justice after 9, 8, 7, 6 years. With the type of murders, shootings, robberies, extortions, kidnappings taking place today, it seems like it's a norm. And we on to the next story. So a man was shot today, his car taken away, and we on to the next story. It seems like We no longer have compassion for each other. We have no love for each other. And most of all, we don't care about each other. This could be a symptom that we would have inherited from our leaders present. I see my colleagues standing here tonight from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And I want to share this with you. On many occasions, if not all, you would have called law enforcement for assistance, and we didn't come. In time of need, you wanted someone to rescue you, and we did not come. 2 o'clock in the morning, persons knocking on your doors, not police officers, and saying, open the door, otherwise we'll shoot down the house. You managed to call law enforcement, but no one came. You send your children to school daily, and they're afraid to go because of the bullying in the school. We have the teachers going to school, and they're not willing to teach anymore because they're afraid. There's no security, there's no safety anywhere we go anymore. Standing outside the police station, men with AR-15s shooting at each other. What the response could be, I will get into that tonight. The question must be asked, how we intend to fix this. First of all, let me deal with the law enforcement part, and I will tell you your role and function as citizens, how we can treat with it. My leader has spoken earlier and stated her intentions, our intentions to treat with it. Law enforcement, first of all, and persons involved in national security, the first thing we ought to do is to show you that we care about you and your family. First thing. And then I must use persons who will share within the organization what the organization requires. Not what somebody from the outside thinks they need and bring it. I must ask law enforcement, what do you want? And you know the nice thing about it? I just left. So I'm quite aware of what is required. I want to give law enforcement, the Coast Guard, fire services, the Army, all the necessary equipment they need in this fight. They must also benefit from smart technology, not the ones that you put up and it watches nothing. And late in the night, you cannot see anything because there's dust and darkness. Smart technology that must be incorporated among all the business and residential areas leading back to the police station. So our response could be timely. Yeah? Our approach to crime will be lawful, but yet aggressive. Because when the criminals come for you, you have no rights. We must give citizens an opportunity to defend themselves. No longer must we wait. We must stand our ground and defend ourselves in such a way that whatever we do must be justified in any court of law. We need to do all of this, but most importantly, law enforcement, when you are given all the necessary tools to protect our citizens, then and only then, you must be held accountable to this nation. I told my leader, and this is strange, I told my leader only this week, millions of dollars going towards body cams. We appreciate that, thank you very much. But first of all, remove the expired bulletproof vest from the body of the law enforcement officer so he can be given the confidence to approach his work in such a way that he could get the job done. Law enforcement must be able to match gun for gun, wrong for wrong. Not a pistol versus an AR-15. That's a mismatch. How can you give law enforcement the confidence when we have to come up against 4 men with AR-15 that they are converted now to fully automatic, and we have 4 pistols? Members of the public, you might not understand sometimes because they only give you or blame law enforcement for everything that happens time and time again. But they did not give law enforcement the equipment and the resources they need. In my constituency of Tunapuna, if there is a fire at this time, I hope that everyone here would participate because we will need a bucket brigade to help us. Not one fire vehicle is inside that station in Tunapuna, not one. How can we blame those who were given the responsibility when we did not provide the equipment necessary? The Coast Guard and them told me on several occasions, and I have witnessed it myself, where they have to stay on the jetty and look at persons up and down on the sea and do nothing. Several persons with bags, some of them, if they get a chance, they'll put a house on one of those pirogues and come across. And the only thing we can do is to look and do nothing. Let me inform the Coast Guard today. When you give us this opportunity, we will give you what you need and establish a proper system that caters for maintenance and repairs of equipment. So from the time it goes down, it must be dealt with almost immediately. We showcase ourselves sometimes. We have 400 motorcycles, and everybody clap. Excellent. The police have. What they didn't tell you is that the motorcycles did not come with spare parts. So from the time the officers make a turn and come back and it's shut down, it's parked up there. And if anybody has wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of law enforcement and national security, I will tell you this. If everyone here, your cars, and you're shut down, you may not be shut down for the same thing. So why can I not take apart from you and make you workable to the people. But no, the bureaucracy of removing the parts from one place to another is not what they want. Get a new one. Wait 8 months while the people of Trinidad and Tobago suffering as a result of crime. Again, thank you very much. And tonight, feel free to ask your questions. And we are about not just talk, we are about finding solutions to crime. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alexander. The PNM is giving you Marvin Gonzalez and Fitzgerald Hines, and the UNC is giving you Roger Alexander. All of the seats in this auditorium are currently occupied, and I noticed that there are several persons standing at the back of the hall. Please keep the entranceway clear in the event of any emergency. But the hall is packed. We are ready for government. April 28th, go out and vote. The next person I have to introduce to the podium is one of the few men I know who has a 12-page long CV. It is Dr. Tim Gopi Singh, a former Minister of Education with a stellar record of achievement. He has been a parliamentarian since 2001, serving in both the Senate and House of Representatives. Dr. Gopi Singh is a gynecologist and has worked extensively in the field of medicine in Trinidad and Tobago and internationally over the last 40 years. He was an associate professor, senior lecturer at the Faculty of Medical Sciences of the UWI St. Augustine up to 2007. He served as clinical dean of the Faculty of Medical Sciences from 1994 to 1997. Dr. Gopi Singh obtained an executive MBA from the Arthur Lockjack Graduate School of Business and a master's in international relations with distinction from the UWI. He also represented Trinidad and Tobago, many of you all may not know this, in cricket at the international level. I now ask Dr. Tim Gopi Singh to address us on the relationship of education and crime. Dr. Gopi Singh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman of this evening's proceedings, Attorney at Law Saddam Hussein, and your next representative for Barataria San Juan. Our distinguished political leader and incoming Prime Minister, the Honorable Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, Senior Counsel. Fellow panelists, Mr. Roger Alexander. Ladies and gentlemen, here tonight, in your thousands and the thousands viewing on television and social media, good evening. It is a pleasure to be here to share with you just some of our 2025 manifesto plans for the education sector. And these, again, are an example of the visionary policies of Mrs. Prasad Bisesa, whose life's work has been dedicated to the upliftment of all our nation's children. Global scientific research, publications, and empirical data show conclusively that there is a complex and significant correlation between health issues, educational deficiencies, and involvement in crime, particularly in children, where socioeconomic factors and early childhood experiences play a crucial role. Higher educational attainment correlates strongly with decreased crime, violence, and criminal activity. Children from disadvantaged backgrounds often face health problems related to poverty, including poor nutrition, lack of access to healthcare, and exposure to environmental hazards. Socioeconomic deprivation could lead to increased rates of mental health issues, which negatively impact behavior and increase the risk of involvement in crime. Child health issues and poor education are intertwined and increases the likelihood of criminal behavior later in life. A lack of early childhood development, poor health, and limited educational opportunities lead to increased crime rates. They hinder a child's cognitive and social emotional development, impacting their ability to learn and succeed in school. Children with the neurodevelopmental spectrum, neuro means brain, developmental, the brain development, of ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, and the autism spectrum are more likely to achieve lower educational attainment. Children born with low birth weight, with a wide spectrum of health disorders, the worst being cerebral palsy, may have poorer educational outcomes and a higher risk of special education needs. Studies show that children who did not participate in early childhood education programs were more likely to be arrested for violent crime by age 18. And hence, Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar between 2010 and 2015 ensured that early childhood education became one of the most important aspects of children's education. And Mrs. Bissessar, as Prime Minister, was able to achieve that Trinidad and Tobago became the first country in the world to have achieved universal early childhood education. It is for this reason that the Honorable Opposition Leader and Prime Minister to be on the 29th of April is committed to ensuring that our education sector is once more transformed and reinvented when necessary to address these crucial issues to ensure that truly no child is left behind, which was a mantra and one of her significant achievements in 2010 to 2015. Let me now engage you with some of our 2025 Education Manifesto promises. The Education Manifesto promises are about 30 pages voluminous. And these are issues which, under Prime Minister Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, will be achieved. Preparation of all children to maximize education opportunities. That is one of the main manifesto promises. We will engage in universal screening and treatment of children between the ages of 4 to 6. Neurodevelopmental, physical, mental, and socioeconomic well-being. Specialist consultants, including neurodevelopmental consultants, will be engaged to assist in planning, conducting initial screening and treatment and management. Training and development of specialists and other advisory support and any other requirements as deemed necessary will be undertaken. The Children's Authority and the Student Support Services Division of the Ministry of Education will be reevaluated concerning their purpose, roles, institutional construct, and performance expectations to satisfy best the preparation, development, and care of the nation's children, including operational delivery of services and in terms of regulatory as well. We will ensure proper and continuous testing and neurodiagnostics of children to test for special needs. The Student Support Services of the Ministry of Education will be re-engineered to become the primary operation for screening and treatment for all children in the country. Now we have approximately 220,000 students in schools, 425 primary schools, about 125 secondary schools, and over 250 early childhood education centers. So we have over just 200 210,000 students in school. And 10% of these students are affected by the issues which I am speaking about. So at present, there might be approximately 20,000 students in schools that are affected. The Children's Authority role will be re-examined to give it a more focused regulatory and overarching supervisory role in protecting and developing children. At present, the role is mixed between reacting to reports of at-risk children and being a regulatory measure. A computerized development tracking system of the understanding of all children will be developed for tracking the development and performance of children throughout their various educational levels, from early childhood, primary, secondary. The neurodevelopmental approach involves the screening, assessment, and intervention of cognitive processing. Teacher training must involve as well conducting workshops for teachers to gain an understanding of the neurodevelopmental approach and how it can be applied to the classroom. Curriculum reform will address cognitive processing, which is foundational to education, learning, and development, and will be introduced in the curriculum. Parenting workshops. This approach in parent training engages, equips, and empowers parents with developmental exercises so that they can help their children improve. Screening at primary schools. Site visits at training rooms with facilitators training will be established in various education districts. Students will be screened in the first year and second year and standard 1 class to optimize cognitive processing levels at foundational levels of development. Children will be individually screened for cognitive processing capabilities. And you'll be surprised that more than 30% of the students at school now have some deficiencies in cognitive processing capabilities. And this is one of the reasons why we have a higher failure rate in the schools. So Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar will be addressing these issues based on the promises that we are making in the manifesto. This will be accomplished utilizing the Simply Smarter program, which records individual student scores, which will then be analyzed to establish initial processing levels. A national rollout of this screening and intervention with qualified facilitators will begin in schools with the lowest API ranking. Groups of schools will be added based on lowest to highest ranking over a five-year period. The Ministry of Education will work in conjunction with the Ministry of Health to assess students for visual acuity and hearing tests, to identify children who may need prescription lenses or have hearing loss. These assessments will begin as early as the child enters into the educational system and will continue at periodic intervals throughout ECC and primary school levels. A list of those children who fail visual acuity and hearing tests administered by the Ministry of Health will be given to the Ministry of Education Student Support Services Division for follow-up with parents and guardians. My distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have the issue of parental responsibilities. We will ensure, as we did in 2010 to 2015, to have universal early childhood education. We will pay a lot of attention to literacy and numeracy. So there is a lot more in our manifesto, as Honorable Leader Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who is going to be your next Prime Minister on April 29th. There are many more policies. There are many more policies in education, too numerous to mention, but which are reachable and can be done. Within 1 year, PNM destroyed our education system, which was at the highest level according to the world standards. So today, as I close, I say our 2025 Education Manifesto contains extensive plans to ensure our education sector once again becomes a global leader in education and at the forefront with transformational operational policies as we were then in 2010 to 2025, with Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesa driving these successes. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tim Gopi Singh, for that very comprehensive presentation on matters of education and crime. This evening with us, I would like to publicly acknowledge, and I'll ask them to stand, Mr. Anil Ram, the former Member of Parliament for Caroni Central, Mr. Ravi Ratiram, former Member for Kuva North, and Mr. Rudranath Indar Singh, former Member for Kuva South. They are here with us, we are united, and when UNC wins, before I open the floor, I just have a couple of announcements. The United National Congress will be officially launching and presenting our slate of candidates on Saturday, this Saturday, the 5th of April at 4:30 p.m. at the Center of Excellence, Makoya. We ask you all to join us for that massive rally that will happen at the Center of Excellence. And then on Monday, the UNC rolls into the East-West Corridor, where we'll have a mass meeting at the Himalayan Club in San Juan. I will also be hosting at that meeting. So I look forward to seeing the thousands of you present at that meeting to send a strong message to Stuart Young and the PNM that when UNC wins. So now, I would like, as the political leader said earlier on, that we want to hear from you. And the mics are set up at the front of the stage. And we will ask those who are interested in asking any questions to members of the panel to please state your name and make your presentation brief, because we want to hear from as many persons tonight on this very important topic of crime in our community.
I must say a pleasant evening to the political leader of the UNC and the next Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to say pleasant evening to Mr. Gopi Singh, Tim Gopi Singh, Mr. Saddam Hussein, and my good friend, Mr. Chaguanas. Mr. Alexander, at the time when my company was extorted, was then the senior superintendent in the Mova police station. And his brother Danny was part of my security team that I put together, that I paid for from my pocket, told me I must go and look for Mr. Alexander. And I went and looked for him. We had security in our home 24 hours. And Mr. Alexander, then senior superintendent, provided me with patrols day and night. It started in 2007, 2008, January, and we were moved to a safe house sometime in April. And then we were moved from Mova, where my office and warehouse were, and I was given a location in Chaguanas, where we live presently. But I never was able to tell Mr. Alexander, thank you for keeping me and my family safe. So I have two questions. There were a team of 38 officers that surround my family that were rotated. Anti-kidnapping, I think they called them then. Those were dedicated officers. But for some reason, that crew was disbanded. And I'm asking, when the UNC formed the government, if it is possible to resurrect the anti-kidnapping crew, because that crew kept my family safe and kept the criminals away from us. For that matter, criminals were afraid of me. If I were going down High Street while walking down Frederick Street and the criminals saw me, they will cross the road because they weren't sure who was with me. Thank you. Other question. Crime is like an octopus, has many tentacles. And one of those tentacles is job creation, employment, and education. Mr. Alexander will know that for a small businessman, we employed some 21 persons full-time, another 15 part-time. Yeah. And we did well. But we created jobs. There's a document that we gave to Mr. Imbert to regularize the construction sector under the Trinidad Tobago Contractors Association. We gave it to him in 2009, he did nothing. I'm hoping that I can give you the policy so you can see what we gave them and the importance of it. The other thing is that I asked the question, one question finally. The UNC has earmarked economic zones. And I'm asking that the UNC earmark Moruga Tableland as an economic zone because we have done some research there and it has shown us we can employ some 800 persons if it is an economic zone where you have duty-free concessions, the government put the infrastructure in place, and we will bring the investment in.
Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, thank you very much, sir. With respect to what the question that you asked, and thanks for the question, the difference between what is happening now and what will happen when the United National Congress come into power, I have a good relationship with a commissioner of police and with the commissioner of police. And what we can do very early is we can ask and advise on some issues, but we will ask, communicate, and see what best we can treat with. Because we are looking at putting the best officer qualified to do the job. So it's not a put he here and put he there kind of thing. We want the person who is best suited for the job to be placed in that position to do the job. All right, so I hope that answers your question, sir.
Next person, just please state your name.
Okay, my name is Gayanan Sutram. I'm from the constituency of Caranese, an executive of the constituency of Caranese. I'm here in this podium not as an executive, but as a citizen of Kunupia, the constituency of Caranese, and as a small businessman in the area. And first of all, let me recognize our honorable leader, the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Ms. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, my ex-member of Parliament, the best Minister of Education, Dr. Tim Gopi Singh, Mr. Saddam Hussein, who is a son of Cavanese, and Mr. Roger Alexander, who will surely help us in this country.
Before you move on, Dr. Tim was the best Minister of Education, second to me.
Apologies, leader.
Thank you.
Apologies. Okay. I am a small businessman in Kunupia, And this symposium is about crime. Crime is raging rampant in an area that was once a beautiful community to live in. Me and my wife and children, we run a small business. And I want to tell you an experience. My wife, we are selling, we're under a tent, and next door to us, there's a cellular shop. Bandits came into that cellular shop, robbed the cellular shop, and left. My wife was right there. That's one of the cuts. That's one of the cuts. Because we stopped selling. We have closed. We are no longer selling under that tent anymore because of situations like that. Every morning that I get up and I go to my temple, I think about my children who go out to run the business and worry if they will have a good day and if they will have no problems, no interaction with bandits. This is the environment that we are existing in, that we are operating in. Everyone knows about the problem of extortion in the Kelly Village area that is slowly spreading into the Kunupia area. It's rampant in Caroni East. Rampant in Kunupia. Mr. Alexander, we are hoping that you can assist us with that problem. Again, I want to highlight a situation that took place in Caroni East in the Esmeralda Welcome area, where an elderly gentleman, a farmer, who had just committed a sum of money because he sold his land, he was killed in front of his grandchildren, murdered in front of his grandchildren and daughter for that little bit of money that he had. It took the police 40 minutes to reach. Not wanting to blame the police because of lack of manpower and resources in the Kunupia police station. So, Mr. Alexander, I will be short. I'm hoping, leader, that we can put things in place to assist our community, Kunupia, Caroni East, in helping us to solve this crime situation. Thank you very much.
Next person, please state your name and where you are from.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Adlon Braveboy. I'm Banjala in Subrike in the Calypso Arena. I'm also a minister of religion of the Ifa Orisha community of Trinidad and Tobago. From the plane, I just come straight here because I see crime as an important factor to be dealt with very seriously. And so I want to take this moment for us to thank the Almighty that we are still here in the land of the living, where our prayers and our supplications can be made, because many are cut off and gone. But I must also say that our next Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, she has a plan. And I'm not saying she has a plan because I love the United National Congress. I am saying this with bold assurance of what I've seen when she came into power a few years ago. And today, this is a living testimony that when the UNC wins, everybody wins. Today, I stand before you not just as a citizen, but as a deeply concerned member of this community. We have witnessed firsthand the tragic loss of lives due to the escalating violence, with no little effective response from the current PNM government. Areas like Crown Trace and Enterprise, which hold a special place in the hearts of many who are here tonight, have become battlegrounds of senseless crimes. Yet, it is not just in these neighborhoods that we hear the cries of anguished families across Trinidad and Tobago mourn the loved ones they lost unrelentingly due to waves of violence. As we gather here, it is what I will consider actionable solutions, strategies that can help restore peace and safety of our communities, investment in community policing, initiative, enhance educational programs for our youths, and increase support for mental health services. We need mental health services. Because there are a lot of people walking around, they're more mad than those in the madhouse. And hence the reason why this is very important, especially mental health. This is my contribution for this evening. I thank you.
Next person, please. I'm going to ask all who are asking questions to please limit it to 2 minutes. We have a very long line of persons who want to contribute.
Good night to the Honorable. Good night to the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Ms. Kamala Pastor-Bissessar. Mr. Roger Alexander, my former colleague, Mr. Tim Gopi Singh, and Mr. Saram Hussain. I just have one message to send to the criminals. My name is Johnny Abraham. I was the former Senior Superintendent of Police in Central Division. And I can assure you, when I was here, Central was safe. You can sleep with the house open. I want to send a message to the criminals. When UNC win, everybody wins, except the criminals. We don't want them in Trinidad, Mr. Alexander. We don't want them in Tobago. They have to live in the and. And the and mean all nonsense done. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, right. Good evening, Ms. Bissessar, Mr. Gopi Singh, Mr. Hussain, and Mr. Roger Alexander. Good evening. My name is Kenny McIntyre. I'm a retired senior superintendent from the Central Division. We have all heard for the past 9.5 years, heard, feel, and seen the devastation of crime within our little island of Trinidad and Tobago. So I no need to tell anybody the heartaches, because somewhere along the line, we have not only victims, but we have family of victims here. My thing this evening is to give credit and thanks to Ms. Bissessar and the United National Congress for giving hope to these people of this country in the policies that you're bringing towards this country in terms of crime, criminality. It is practical, it is real. Mr. Alexander, he's good in operations and other aspects. He knows them, they know him. He's a no-nonsense guy, and he'll get things done. We are here to give whatever support that is necessary. Right? Mr. Abraham done send a message to them. If they feel that he's joking, correct. Let them come down to Chaguanas and they'll find out. But by and large, I think a lot of people gain a sense of hope and thanks and giving thanks with regard to that. Ms. Bissessar, thank you. Mr. Gopi Singh, and to the entire national team. So when UNC win, everybody wins.
Good night to political leader, Ms. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, the woman that is going to be the next Prime Minister of this country, soon to be in office. Tonight, I want to just say thanks for being given this opportunity once again to speak on this crime situation. The last time I spoke at Naparima, I would have outlined it, over 21 suggestions to curb the crime. One of which is to incorporate the precepted security officers, which we have over 35,000 plus in this country. I would have made a call then to the commissioner that was sitting in office then, Ms. Ola Christopher, to call out these officers and incorporate them in the security fight plan to assist the police on the day-to-day duties, and that was not done. I even advised that they should call a state of emergency for a limited period of 3 days to incorporate this plan. They ignored that. Tonight, time is up.
Please state your name.
Good. Hello, good night, future Prime Minister Trinidad and Tobago. Pardon? Okay. Hello, good night, future Prime Minister Trinidad and Tobago, Ms. Kamala Prasad Bissessa, Mr. Tim Gopi Singh, Mr. Roger Alexander, and Mr. Saddam Hussein, and my MP, Vandana Mohit. Unfortunately, I was a victim of crime 3 times under the PNM government. You know, usually we get up early in the morning to do our morning devotions, and when Ms. Prasad Bissessa was Prime Minister, in the morning we see blue lights around the area, so we felt safe coming out in our yards in the morning, and again, this is what we need to come back into our community. And now that we have Mr. Alexander on board, we know that security will be forefront in our fight against crime. Also, I'm seeing Mr. Abraham in the audience, and knowing that the inclusive person that Ms. Kamala Prasad Bissessa is, she will bring him on board, so we'll fight crime. Also, Mr. Tim Gopi Singh, I would like you to look into the school system where not only students are bullying students. I had an instance where my grandson was being bullied by a teacher. So all these things we have to look into to make Trinidad better.
Thank you very much. Next person, please state your name and your area.
The Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Kamala Prasad Bissessa, present and former members of Parliament. My name is Ravi Randy Rampasad. I am part of the business community in the Kunupi area. Last year, at the Joint Select Committee, a question was posed to the former COP, Mrs. Harewood Christopher, and she indicated that there were 25,000 pending FUL applications before her. When she was asked by, I can't remember the name of the member that posed the question to her, how many of those applications you would have approved? And she said a little over 100. That is less than 1%. Less than 1%. That is not even 0.5%. My first question to you is that upon assuming office in the first 60 days, will you restructure, realign, or reorganize the FUL sections so that businessmen can protect their families, businessmen can protect their properties? My second question to you is crime. We have in this country spiraling murder rates, the highest murder rate, 600 plus murders. Upon assuming office, will you consider resuming hangings in this country? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your questions. And certainly we will give consideration to the suggestions you've made, the questions. Because there are so many persons who want to speak, I will ask you to go up on the website. We have already spoken about giving legal firearms to law-abiding citizens. So yes, we are on the same pathway. And on the other issue, it is something that a former UNC government, we had put it into place, but the then PNM never supported us. So it's something that we can once again consider. Thank you very much.
Next person, please.
Pleasant good night to each and everyone here this evening. My name is Ishwar Rupchan, an entrepreneur from Endeavor Chaguanas. Well, there's a lot of issues and we can't say all here tonight. All protocols observed. The Honorable Ms. Kamala Prasad Bissessa, the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Tim Gopi Singh and Mr. Roger Alexander. It's very nice to see you here, sir. And I feel a little safer now. And I will feel safer seeing you in power and handling all the necessary things that we have to do to get crime down in our country. More also, we have this little environment called Endeavor where it was the most peaceful place you could have ever lived. Never close the doors. Born and grew up in Endeavor, you never even think about closing your doors. Now, the more padlock you could ever find in this country, you have to padlock. You have to enclose at each and every area you have to unlock, lock down, you know. So what we have is a spiraling effect of crime in our community. It's all based on a lot of things, but, you know, we can't mention all so much tonight. There's high unemployment, you know, the extortion, the kidnapping, house invasion. You know, it's been there so long, you know. So thank you very much for this little time. And I hope that UNC win. Oh, they will win. And when UNC win, we all win. We all will win.
Thank you very much.
Good night. Good night to the panel. My name is Sunil Maharaj. I'm a maxi taxi owner and driver. Yeah. We stand here today grappling with reaching consequences of crime, a scourge that touches every corner of our society. One industry profoundly affected by our maxi is our maxi taxi service, a lifeline of countless constituents seeking safe and reliable transportation. Crime not only threatens the physical safety of our drivers and passengers, but also undermines trust and confidence in this essential service. The fear of robbery, violence, and even loss of life. Just a couple years ago, a young maxi driver, Stephen Joseph, was plying for hire on the Southern Main Road Enterprise, where he was murdered. Passengers, too, are left apprehensive, questioning their safety during the rides. Beyond human cost, rampant crime is disrupting livelihoods, creating financial instability for hardworking drivers who are forced to spend money on security measures and recover from losses from being robbed and so on. It diminishes the sense of community and connection that maxi taxis are meant to foster. Addressing crime is not only about law enforcement, even though the police stations and never have vehicles around to come. It's about reclaiming the streets for everyone. We can create a safer environment in Chaguanas East where maxi taxi services thrive, providing peace of mind to passengers and drivers alike. Thank you very much for your time.
Good day, everyone. My name is Andrew Musio. I'm 26 years old. On behalf of all the... Good day, everyone. My name is Andrew Musio. I'm 26 years old. And on behalf of all the young people here, I would like to thank you all for your expert leadership and just educating us on crime and what we need to do in the community. Now, as a young person, I believe that there are many young people who are not involved in politics. They don't see the necessity behind it, and they don't understand the importance of speaking your mind, reading, writing, and understanding life at an economic level. And what I want to say as well is that I have been a resident of Chaguanas for most of my life. I was born and raised in Enable 500, and I now reside in Longdenville. And I have lived in 8 different communities around Trinidad and Tobago. And what I must say is that I feel very safe in Chaguanas. And a lot of this have to do with our MP, Vandana Mohit, as well as, as well as our councillor, Ms. Brenda John. And and I have been a victim of crime a couple of times. I've been robbed twice, held up at gunpoint. Wow. And these 2 occasions happened outside of the constituents of Chaguanas. And so in looking at certain aspects of life, what I have to admit is that whenever I live in neighborhoods where there's a strong UNC presence, I feel much safe, right? And if you're being honest, that has a lot to do with leadership. It's a lot to do with caring about the young people, seeing what's important. Mental health is a very serious thing. And I have one request for you all, and that would be that I would like to see a lot of things going into the youth, into the young people, into the lower class and the middle class as well. So thank you all for your leadership, and good job.
Next person, please.
Yeah. Good night to the political leader, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa. Good night to Mr. Tim Gopi Singh. Good night to Mr. Rajak Alexander. And good night to Mr. Saddam Hussein. My name is Narendra Kunj Bihari. I'm from Pierre Road, Felicity. My son was kidnapped and brutally murdered Sashal Kunchbihari. Last year, on the 25th of September, and his body was found in Poka Road, decomposed on the 29th, after a ransom was paid. Now, the police officers did this with a marked police vehicle, right? With a false number plate. Now, what happened if my son did do something wrong? Well, look at that charging. But only kidnap him and hand him over to the criminal elements. And my son saw their face and they brutally murdered him. What I want to say is that when the UNC come into government, that we know it had others involved and a thorough investigation must be done. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
The Honorable Kamala Prasad Bissessa, the next Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, members of the panel, my name is Ahmad Ali. I am from the constituency of Tunapuna. So Tunapuna is in the house. And I am here, for those who do not know Tunapuna, the constituency of Tunapuna runs, I try to give you a basic thing. From the St. Joseph River Bridge to the Coral River Bridge, road onto the foothills of Maracas. We have a proliferation of gangs in Tunapuna. That leads, in fact, that spells criminality, it spells crime. I think God has listened to us by giving us a representative like Mr. Alexander. And we are going to make sure on April the 29th, he is placed as a member of parliament. Sir, in your order of priority, what is first for Tunapuna in terms of crime?
You need for me to answer right away?
Well, you can give me in a nutshell.
Well, first of all, my approach must be citizen-centered, protection-driven, and a safety apparatus to ensure that everyone is properly taken care of. That is my intention. Because I took a walk to the constituency and I see the need for that intervention, not just a proactive one, but one that could be sustainable over a long period of time. Too many times I have seen from my conversation with persons in the area, things happen today and tomorrow it is forgotten.
Well, that answers the question. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
And good night to all.
And just for housekeeping, this will be our last question from the floor.
Good evening, all. I am Kerry Sumisarai. I am from the constituency of Tunapuna. Welcome, Mr. Alexander.
Thank you.
My home faced an invasion of criminals on the 27th of May, 2022. My eldest daughter was brutalized with a hammer. She had a deep laceration on her upper lip and a hematoma. My second daughter was held hostage in her bedroom. And the door to my bedroom was broken down by a criminal and accosted my wife. My family have been traumatized beyond belief by that incident. Up to today, they feel insecure. We have imprisoned ourselves in our home. And although the police service, I must commend them, responded in a timely manner, over the years, the case has gone cold. So while we call for resources for the police service, I agree. I am also the former director of the Secretariat of the Police Service Commission. So I'm very well familiar with the operations of the police service. But I want to ask, Madam Incoming Prime Minister, when the coalition government gets into power, will you consider revisiting the multi-sectoral team report that was completed in 2013 that provided for the reformation of the Police Service Commission and removing it from under the foot of the Service Commissions Department, which in 2014 made a strategic move to regain control of the Commission Secretariat.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio. WZYE 95.9 FM.
Police Service. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And it's really heart-wrenching to hear testimonies from persons who have been victims or their families victims. And certainly we'll look back at that report. It will be done within our term in office when my team and myself were in government. So we look at it. And, there's something that is that God works in a mysterious ways. God works in mysterious ways. His wonders to behold. And Mr. Alexander told us about putting right persons in the right places. And as God would have it, it will be under a UNC government and our coalition partners that a new commissioner of police will be appointed. They were so hurried to call election that they did not complete interfering with the commissions to place their person in that office, and it will fall into our hands to make sure we get the right person in that position. So thank you all very much. We have one more speaker. Look forward to you, sir. Go ahead.
Good night to the leader and all the people behind the leader. When UNC win, correct is right. I just want to confirm. My name is Hollis Peters. I'm from the area of Arima. I used to preside in Port of Spain, but then I was lucky under the UNC, last government, to get a house in Arima. Yeah. And I want to say a special thanks to Mr. Munilal, the Lion. I want to remind the people of Trinidad and Tobago here tonight, because a lot of people has concern about crime. I don't want to be long, but I want to remind you all that in the last UNC government, 30-something days without crime. Anybody can remember that? Anybody can remember that? 30-something days without a murder, without people. Just do what you have to do and put UNC there, and we'll fix everything that needs to be fixed.
Thank you very much. So as this brings an end to our town hall, I would like to invite all of the candidates who are here this evening to join us on stage.
As our candidate make their way, let me thank all of you again for joining us this evening. Let me remind you once more, we look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Center of Excellence will present the entire slate of candidates. Begins at 4:30 p.m. at the Center of Excellence. So we look forward to seeing you in that massive gathering of the UNC and its coalition partners. So thank you all very much. Thank you to the panelists. Give the panelists a round of applause, please. Thank you all very much.
So, folks, there you have it. The meeting is concluded, and again, Roger Alexander. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try something.
What you gonna try and follow?
Say that again?
What you gonna try?
I'm going to try to get Roger Alexander.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know, I just think big.
Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, now is the time to rise and shine. Tell your mother, tell your father, now is the time to decide. If you want leaders who can restore, place your X by the rising sun. If you want leaders who lead with love, place your X by the rising sun. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinidad wins, Trinidad wins. Everybody wins, everybody wins. Vote for peace, vote for love, vote for hope, vote for change. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinidad wins, Trinidad wins. Everybody wins, everybody wins. Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, now is the time to rise and shine. Tell your mother, tell your father, now is the time to decide. If you want a leader who can build place X by the rising sun. If you want a leader who can lead properly, place X by the rising sun. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinidad wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Vote for peace. Vote for love. Vote for hope. Vote for change. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinidad wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, now is the time to rise and shine. Tell your mother, tell your father, now is the time to decide. If you want leaders who can restore, place your X by the rising sun. If you want leaders who lead with love, place your X by the rising sun. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. On election day.
All right, I'm gonna take a try now too. We're going to see if we could get Roger Alexander.
When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, now is the time to rise and shine. Tell your mother, tell your father, now is the time to decide. If you want leaders who can build, place your expert rising sun. If you want leaders who can lead properly, place your expert rising sun. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. On election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When
Let me try
UNC
something else.
wins,
Trinbago wins. Try somebody to see if they can get
everybody
more.
wins. Everybody wins. Vote for peace, vote for love, vote for hope, vote for change. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Vote for peace, vote for love, vote for hope, vote for change. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody. When UNC wins, everybody wins.
So, folks, there you have it.
UNC wins,
There you have it. There
wins.
you have it.
Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Tell your neighbor, tell your
So there you have it, folks. A crime meeting. And I was in Chaguanas.
Yep.
Yeah. So so Tommy, on Saturday, oh boy. On Saturday they're gonna be rolling out candidates. So I don't know where I'm going to be, but I might be on a bus coming back from a track meet. So maybe I could try to stream it using my hotspot. But I'll see what happens. Yeah?
Inform me.
Yeah, I'll keep you informed. So Tommy, what was your take? What was your take on the meeting?
It was it was informative. I thought they should have had more crime fighting information though.
Okay. Tommy, I want to play a video for you of a fella by the name of Irvin Felix. You know Irvin Felix?
No, it doesn't ring a bell.
Okay. But anyway, let me play this. Let me play this editorial. Because I did an editorial today. Let me play this editorial. I want you all to listen to this. Because I think Xiao Chong taking us for fools. Prime Minister Young taking us for fools. Yeah? So I want you all to listen to this. This is an editorial that I did today. Okay. Take a listen.
A desperate P&M gimmick or a genuine act of justice? An editorial by Professor Wall Street. Prime Minister Stuart Young's recent statement regarding the government's ex gratia payment of $1 million to the families of the 4 deceased divers and survivor Christopher Boudrum from the Perea LMCS tragedy has sparked outrage and skepticism. After years of delays, legal battles, and heartache, the government's sudden decision to offer compensation mere weeks before the April 28th election raises an unavoidable question. Is this a sincere effort to deliver justice, or just another People's National Movement (PNM) election gimmick designed to manipulate public sentiment? The families of the deceased divers, Kazim Ali Jr., Yusuf Henry, Rishi Nagasa, and Faisal Kurban, have endured unimaginable suffering since February 25, 2022, when the tragedy occurred. They have fought tirelessly for accountability and proper compensation, yet the government's response has been defined by bureaucratic red tape and foot dragging. Now, just as the nation prepares to head to the polls, Prime Minister Young declares, "I've had enough," as if this newfound urgency is anything but politically convenient. If the government were truly committed to justice, why has it taken over 2 years to arrive at this decision? Why were the families forced to navigate a frustrating legal process while state officials deflected responsibility? The timing of this ex gratia payment, just weeks before an election, is suspicious at best and exploitative at worst. It reeks of political expediency rather than genuine compassion. Moreover, an ex gratia payment is, by definition, a discretionary gift rather than an acknowledgement of wrongdoing. It allows the government to avoid full legal accountability while attempting to pacify grieving families with a financial gesture. This approach does not address the systemic failures that led to the tragedy or the negligence that was so painfully exposed in the aftermath. The families deserve more than just compensation. They deserve truth, accountability, and assurances that such a disaster will never happen again. Prime Minister Young's attempt to cast himself as a frustrated leader who is finally taking decisive action does little to mask the reality. This is a desperate move by a government seeking to shore up electoral support. The people of Trinidad and Tobago must not be fooled by last-minute political stunts. True justice is not measured in million-dollar payouts, but in meaningful reform, accountability, and a government that acts with integrity, not just when it is politically convenient. In conclusion, on April 28th, the electorate must decide whether they accept this hollow attempt at damage control or demand a leadership that prioritizes people over politics, not just during election season, but always. A desperate.
So, Tommy, there you have it. Another election gimmick. And Nadia, you're right. Too little, too late. I am happy that the family is getting something, right? But when this incident happened, wasn't Stuart Young Minister of Energy? Huh? So, folks, I'm asking, your mic is muted.
Oh, I thought you heard everything I said.
Yeah, hold on. Let me take this call. Bitcoin, go ahead.
Professor Street and Uncle Tommy.
Good evening.
Prime Minister Young, right? But he seemed to be Prime Minister earlier because that thing he coming out with there now. When the UNC political leaders stated sometime during this weekend campaigning that she was going to help out these divers when she came into office by paying their family what was due to them. They panic, right? So he called damage control now today. Run up any place by himself and talking about he giving out $1 million to each of the family members. Without first contacting the people. You know. Now the honorable thing for him to have done was to have called the people behind closed doors. And say so and so is the case, the cabinet contact decision to give you X amount of money. And then come out and talk about
Correct.
So that's not political point.
Correct.
He opened him out and 2 vote gone in it. So when this boy, Akash, hit him it, he didn't know how to react. You understand?
Yep.
But Akash questioned him the right way, you know, because all the time he mouth closed and you know what that man say? He always wanted to do that, you know, but he couldn't do it because he was in the cabinet in the last government and he couldn't do nothing about that. That is the old rhetoric he committed right through, you know, right through. I couldn't do it. I wanted to do something, you know, but I couldn't do it because I was in a different regime. Listen, this the man wake up on the wrong side of the bed and fooling people here today, you know. He can't get away with this stupidness that he committed and fool the public with. Furthermore, he come last night on the hostage. This man is easy, you know. He's saying he gonna give out, he gonna double the food cards, right?
Correct.
Because he concerned about the destitution taking place in this country. But who causing that? Not you. And furthermore, the man didn't say how much food card people are getting right now, you know. He ain't say nothing about that. If it's 10,000, 5,000, how much? He said, double it. I tell the Minister of Finance, I find the money, they find it. Boy, I tell them, robbing a leprechaun berry and the leprechaun give them money, you know. That's how they find the money now, you know.
Yeah.
Because they notice, like, they talk coming from him all the time. And this so wicked, Mr. Wall Street, when differently able people were getting a food card, this regime, this PNM government, take away the people $520 food card, you know, from disabled people, you know, and say they were double dipping, you know, man. That is a fact. Let them deny it. And Donna Cox came out and said she saved X amount of money. She saved X amount of money, you know, because these people were collecting that food card legitimately, legitimately. They went through process and all that. And this woman come and say they were double dipping. After she processed all these healthy people got double dip. They went through a process. They ain't like steal, you know, steal the card and gain it like that. They went through a process and they were analyzed and dealt with by the ministry, and that is how they get the card. And this wicked Donna Cox took away all of that. She blinked she eye, yeah, she put on she eyelash and she blink it on these people. And I can tell you how good to me and Mr. Wall Street about people who lying down flat in bed, paralyzed to get in that card, and they take it away from them, you know. And now you come in and say you go and give out X amount, they want double it. Double it is how much? We don't know how much is it double. You ain't telling people how much can you have right now in circulation. Eh? But Stuart Young, yeah, they come in, you know. Yeah, they come in, you Donna Cox, all of them, all the other people want to do it. You understand?
Yeah, man.
But trying to pull one of the people eye with these kind of schemes and shenanigans ain't working out. Have a good night, gentlemen.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Your turn now. Tommy again, eh? Fox need to take off that red sunglasses, right? His left red socks, his left red sneakers, right? His left underwear. Listen to Fox. Listen to PNM Fox. Politicians took the diverse family and made them a political football. I hope they accept the money, whether it's a political gimmick or not. In addition, Wall Street, the matter is in the court. What kind of dotish? Anyway, let me take this call. Mr. Florida, welcome.
Good night, Mr. Anthem. Good night, Mr. Tommy. Good night, all the callers, all the Texas. But in live up, it's everybody here on a Tuesday.
Yeah, man.
So, Mr. Anthem, Mr. Tommy, you know when you're watching them detective movie, right? And you see 2 cops coming in the room to question you.
Yeah.
You know the saying where they say, good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's where Stuart Young doing with Rowley, right? That is the strategy. He doing this thing. This is the strategy, you know. He's trying to prove to the the population. I wanted to do this thing, but I couldn't do it because Rowley was the prime minister.
Okay. Okay.
So you see what going on there, right?
So he sit down there.
And that,
He sit down there and see all that happening, and he couldn't do nothing. Any prime minister, you couldn't talk to him, couldn't say nothing.
no, but now he's the prime minister. Now things will get done.
Okay.
You see the strategy. You see the strategy.
Mm-hmm.
It playing in the people in psyche, you know. Because you hear what he just be saying. I couldn't do it before. I couldn't do this before, and I couldn't do that before. It is a strategy. I Rowley and his strategy. So now he go get everybody with goodies and give this one money and give that one. You see the meeting last night? That's how we could fool the PNM supporters and them so easily.
Yeah.
He said I'm gonna cut the VAT on school uniforms. So often you just buy school uniform. Once a year?
Yeah, maybe twice a year. Maybe twice a year.
You might buy a shirt in between the year.
No, what will happen is that people go buy uniform more often now because they have a lower VAT. You know what I mean? You go buy 3-4 times a year. Why?
And the PNM supporters clapping and bowling. Yay!
Yeah.
They're like, you know that come like if they say that off on sneakers.
Yeah.
You might buy sneakers one every year. So it comes like nothing to impact your life beneficially for 365 days a year and the body. You see the strategy with PNM have. So he playing good cop, bad cop. I couldn't do all this because Rowley was there, but now I is prime minister. I could give all you know. I could give all them freely.
Yeah. You know what them is? Prime Minister Young and former Prime Minister Rowley. Them is the male version of Kamala and Biden.
But yeah, put it in the class.
Yeah.
Around over floors.
Yeah, man.
Put it all right, Mr. Tom. Look on this net.
Cool. Yeah. They tied to the hip. They can't get away. Let me hear. This is Caribbean soul. Hold on,
Of the UNC accomplishment.
Hold
This
on.
accomplishment is short but very effective, and this is the Starter House in progress. This was an initiative started off the good night, Mr. Washington, Uncle Tommy, Mr. Washington. So the
Good night.
UNC accomplishment. This accomplishment is short but very effective, and this is the Starter House in progress. This was an initiative started off to build houses for the very poor people, and the aim was to reduce the poverty rate by 2% each year. So this was a very good initiative under the PP government, and that is day 9 of the UNC accomplishment.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you. You know, it is interesting, Tommy. Here why it's interesting, because the black supporters of the PNM doesn't care how many black people live below the poverty line. They don't care about that. Right? I mean, they really didn't know about that until we brought it up. The black PNM supporters. Right? So, for example, you really have a person like Gordon Joseph say, well, that doesn't affect me. That don't affect me. So then it don't affect me. Why worrying about it for? You see? So when you hear that kind of statements, you have to say, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance.
True.
Because if you think with all them people living below the poverty line do have an effect on you, right? You need to take SpaceX and go up to Mars and spend the rest of your life. Poverty have a lot to do with crime, right? And when you listen to Karina Shea, and here we used to play that song a lot. The fella with the internet search engine name. He didn't even do no research. But when you do the research, it tells you poverty have a lot to do with crime. And when you could come and say, well, boy, no, I'm not part of that 26%. Boy, that PNM miseducation that you get, it is sad. Right? Not only you, but PNM Fox as well. Yeah, Tommy, I'm sorry to be picking on this fella so much, you know. Here he goes again.
Yeah.
Here he goes again. Prime Minister explained the lawyers and the insurance company delaying the matter. What happened? You have no understanding, Wall Street. Tommy, let me ask a question. How long has Stuart Young been Prime Minister? How long?
A month?
All right, give him a month. He been Prime Minister a month. And he come out and say that they're going to give each one of the divers $1 million. What about, as this fella say here, what has changed with the lawyers and the insurance company since he became Prime Minister? What has changed? What has changed? Eh? You know, PNM Fox, if they had a black card, I would have revoked your black card. I ain't lying to you. I'll take it away from you. You know, like a visa, I'd take it away from you. Seriously. I would revoke your black card. Yeah. You come in with that type of garbology. What is difference that Stuart Young is now Prime Minister as opposed to when Prime Minister Rowley was the Prime Minister? What is the difference? What is the difference? You something wrong with you, boy. Something had to be wrong.
Different side of the same coin.
Different what?
I said the same coin, just the flip side.
Yeah. Same coin, right? Different sides. You're correct. What? Tommy, you know, why them fellas just prove me correct, so boy? Look, read Gordon's statement. Read Gordon Joseph's statement.
So you see my point. Crime is murder alone, and that's why crime. Oh boy, that's why it's so high.
Oh God, you know, maybe I should revoke his card too. You know, all them PNM getting their card revoked. Really?
You know, I just hope that the population has matured. The majority has matured. I know the sycophants are going to be sycophants, but I just hope I'm gonna pray tonight and every night that these people in Trinidad mature finally.
Okay, Dane, can you correct? Fox playing smart with foolishness. What? Michael Smith, welcome. Michael Smith says, election gimmick. Seem like the gimmick is working because you folks got caught flat-footed and not ready. What are you talking about? Michael Smith, who have most of ads on radio and PNM vex now and then want UNC to give up some of the places that they have. Michael Smith, stay in Boston and play mass, eh? Stay in Boston and play mass, okay? Stay in Boston and play mass.
You sure it's mass you're gonna play or the other thing that rhymes with mass?
Oh, you want to take off the M?
Correct is right.
Oh God. Yeah. Now, we the diverse family knew that was coming before the election. Laugh out loud. Look at that. Nadira says, we, the diverse family, knew that was coming before the election. Yeah. And Tommy, I wonder if they're going to open the building up in Chumakak, boy. I wonder if they're going to cut a ribbon, boy. I go show that on Sunday. Somebody sent me a picture of the building. The building looking nice, you know.
Don't be surprised.
They go and cut a ribbon up in Chumakak too. They go cut a ribbon up in Chumakak. They go open up the building. Right?
That'll go all out, you know, because They get in serious competition this round.
It's gimmick after gimmick after gimmick, boy. It's plenty gimmick.
All I hope is that the people show some maturity this time instead of falling for the rubbish.
Yeah. All right. Take a listen to this. Look, listen to another election gimmick.
Public service pensions. All retired public servants who receive a public service pension will now receive that tax-free. No more tax on public service pension. I am a member of parliament. I hail from Porter State, North St. Anne's West. Let me hear you all. And my cabinet colleagues and every elected member of parliament for the last 9.5 years have talked about how we can help the most vulnerable. You all know about food cards? So right now, some of the most vulnerable in our society get food cards, but I've listened. For 9.5 years, I've listened.
Tommy, let me ask a question. By giving a person food card, does that reduce the amount of black people living below the poverty line?
Absolutely not.
So if I give you a food card, does that reduce you living below the poverty line? No, he don't need a food card. If I give somebody a food card, how does that reduce them living below the poverty line?
It does not.
Look, them really think people dotish and truth, boy. Really and truly, you know.
Maybe their supporters are dotish.
Oh God, Tommy, wait, Tommy, wait.
When you look at what is being said in the chat by sycophants, you really had to think that they think everybody dotish.
Boy, I don't know, boy. I don't know. I don't. Anyway, continue to listen.
Most vulnerable. You all know about food cards? So right now, some of the most vulnerable in our society get food cards. But I've listened. For 9.5 years, I've listened.
So think about this, right? 9.5 years you listen.
And it took you 9.5 years of listening to do something about it.
Almost a decade you listening, huh?
It took a whole decade of listening to do something about it.
He's a real good listener, boy.
No, who listening to him is who the problem is.
Yeah, he should go into the listening business. He gonna be very successful.
No, he's good. He's very good. It's who's listening to him and who's embracing and cheering him in what he's doing is the problem. He's not a problem.
A man getting a platform and say take him 9.5 years of listening, you know.
Before he does something about it.
Before he does anything about it, you know. And not only that, Tommy, he says the most vulnerable people in society, you know. Way unbelievable. Hey, the Phantom. No, we on air.
Oh, okay.
I'll call you when I get off.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, yeah. The man, you know, that fella sell out himself. The most vulnerable people in society 9.5 years ago. It took you, right, to think about, and they ain't getting no food card now, you know. It's only if they win. Get them the food card now. What you waiting for? So wait now, Tommy. They were vulnerable 9.5 years ago. They're not vulnerable now. They're not vulnerable tomorrow. They're not vulnerable a week from now.
Nope.
Prime Minister Young.
They will be vulnerable when he wins.
Prime Minister Young, that kind of election gimmick you come in to give people, you better go somewhere else with that. Go somewhere else with that. Oh, you know what? Go by Gordon Joseph, Patty, Altair, PNM Fox, Willie McLeod and them, and go get them that rhetoric. Get them that. You get them that. Don't come and tell. Anyway.
3.5 years, PNM MP say we have to try to find a way.
Let me go back and listen to that.
So to get food cards, but I've listened. Right now, some of the most vulnerable in our society get food cards, but I've listened. For 9.5 years, I've listened. For 9.5.
You listen for 9.5 years. You listen.
That's how long that's how long it took him to hear.
Tommy, year 1 you listen. Year 2 you listen. Year 3 you listen. Year 4 you listen. Year 5 you listen. Year 6 you listen. Year 7 you listen. Year 8 you listen. Year 9 you listen. 9.5 years, you become the selected prime minister. Right? A general election is called, and all of a sudden, right? Your listening antenna goes up and you say, you know what? Food card. What about food card? I wish we could get them some food card, but you ain't gonna get it. No.
I listen, but I'm not hearing.
I ain't hearing. So I have in my left ear, I have a red earplugs in my left ear, and in my right ear, the earplugs not all the way in, but I want to listen, and I'm listening. Prime Minister Young, go and fool somebody else with that, please. Please go and fool somebody else with that.
2.5 years, PNM MP say we have to try to find a way. So today, again, after careful consultation with the Minister of Finance, running the numbers not once, not twice, but 3 times, I am pleased to tell you that this PNM government elected on the 28th of April, are going to double the number of food cards for Trinidad and Tobago. Service pension.
Prime Minister Young.
And the chair him. And hear the chairing?
How you mean? Yeah? Yeah? Michael Smith wants to know, when will you be doing a one-on-one with the new leader of the PNM party? Michael Smith. They didn't want to come here. They didn't want to come here before. What are they coming here for now? For what? And Mr. Florida, welcome.
Yeah, but when I give Mr. Ansem and Mr. Tommy, I will not be quick for the weekend limited.
Yeah.
You know the question I want to ask PNM Sikofana, what does it take for them to be happy and satisfied?
Suffer peacefully.
What trinkets will they get to be satisfied? That's the question I want to ask them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's the question for you. Yeah. You are listening to the new PM plans, not Dr. Rowley plans. Michael Smith. Yeah, take off your carnival costume, okay? I want to ask you a question. I'll go wait till you take off your carnival costume. All right, folks. You taking off your headpiece. You take off your mask. You take off the shirt. Now keep the pants on. Keep the pants. Don't take off the pants. Don't take off the pants. You take off the left socks. Hey! You have a red socks under there. Don't tell me why. Take off the socks. Take off the socks, Michael Smith. Take it off. All right. Michael Smith, the new PM. Who office you used to work in? And Michael Smith? All right, I'll go wait for the answer. When I get an answer, I'll go come back to you. Yeah? I'm going to play this voice note.
Good night, Wall Street and Uncle Tommy and to everybody out there. Gordon, you real? You for real? As Stuart Young giving us reality and not pie in the sky? Who you fooling? You only fooling yourself? The man had 10 years. He was a failure as the communications minister, failure as the Minister of National Security, and failure as the Minister of Energy. You coming to tell us now, after 10 years, a couple of weeks before elections, that you're going to fix the education system. You're going to do this and you're going
Food
to do
card.
that.
Give them food card.
Diversify the economy. Why you didn't do it before? Who you fooling? Stuart Young is not new wine in no new bottle. The man is tainted wine in contaminated container. No, because Mrs. Pasabis has to talk about giving the money to the divers family. He come up with $1 million for the divers family. $1 million? Is it $1 million each or $1 million to share among them? But he recused himself 200 times to make his brother a banking billionaire and his father a multi-millionaire through the financial institution. How he got that job there? How did Richard Young got that job there? And you coming to talk about pie in the sky? Let me tell you something. Like you forget when Rowley was talking about the code and the Costa Nostra.
Correct.
We keep each other secret, and as we kill you politically, the brotherhood of wrongdoers. Yeah, UNC people coming out and talking, and you feel what going on in the PNM is great is the PNM. You better get real, face reality. You hear? Because I don't know what it is you facing here, and it's not real. Thanks a lot, guys, and have a good night.
Yes, man. Thank you, Miss Santa Cruz. This guy does always pop a thesis. The editor, as sad as the Paria tragedy is, it is a classic example of political interference could muddy the chances of unsuspecting vulnerable people who could have benefited from humanitarian consideration. Following the accident, the Prime Minister announced the formation of a technical team from within the energy industry to conduct an investigation. PNM Fox, how much that investigation cost? Now, Tommy, it's simpler. My understanding is, or they could correct me if I'm wrong, that it costs about 50 million.
Yep.
50 million, that's what they say?
It costs a pretty penny, more than they could ever put up to give them.
Okay. Why you didn't just give the family 5 million each and save yourself? An investigation that will cost you that much money. Why not? And that money is solely needed in the treasury. Bitcoin, welcome.
You really kind of trip that Prime Minister Young coming with.
Yeah.
He had 9.5 years to think about that.
Yep.
And then with the drivers, he always was thinking about doing that, but he couldn't do nothing. Everything he tying into the past is on Dr. Rowley's chest. That's what he's trying to say. He tying it on Dr. Rowley. So Dr. Rowley was a tyrant. And what he was doing, he was mini-me. Right? Like from Austin Powers, Dr. Evil and mini-me. So he was his sidekick. And he couldn't do nothing. He hands tie him out how about a plaster on it, so he couldn't say nothing, do nothing.
Nah, he couldn't do
That's what he coming out with.
Yeah.
And so that you ever see these PNM meeting, they just have all them people standing up.
Yeah. Rather than them saying down. Yeah. I don't understand
all
that.
Of them are waving flag. All of them.
Standing up, boy.
Them standing up, they right through in a partner. They not the courtesy to put the people to sit down, boy. Most of these PNM meetings, they had them stand up there and waving their flag. I see people lay oxygen in. Older people.
Standing up.
And they're standing up there for them 3 hours. When they go home, they're
tired.
They put everything out of them. They have to get rubbed down.
Yeah.
But they get the political rub down that they wanted. They wanted to hear nothing and get nothing. I can't believe all these people to be chained for that.
Yeah.
Chained for that, you know. They
Food card. The man say, I ain't getting all of the food card. No, you know. It's contingent on you going into the poll, voting for them again. Yeah. All right. And hopefully, when they lose, I ain't even going. Yeah. You'll get a food card.
Most of them, they may be recipients of that. I don't say so because the way they chain.
Yeah.
I can't understand these people at all. $520. That come like the lady who anyway give she $20. She said, I'll come and work for you, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said that.
Yeah.
I'll come and work for you when she get the $20. So, I mean, people selling themselves cheap in this country, boy, for a vote. Have a good night, gentlemen.
Yeah, man.
Good night.
Boston Carnival says, come on, guys, speak solutions. Well, he knew here, so I'm not gonna go after him. He's new. So Patty, Tell Boston Carnival what the solutions that we have put out many times. Tell him now. Yeah? But all of a sudden, Stuart Chung had the plan to save Trinidad. Yeah? Yeah, he's Superman. Superman come to save Trinidad. Yeah, PNM Fox say, I tell you, you need to go back to Tranquility and learn English. Read over the comment. Oh God, boy. Yeah, boy. Okay. I can't go back to Tranquility now. Them days gone. That gone true. Who sing that song? Cocoa song say that gone true. That gone true. Yeah. Yeah, you're late. You're very late. You among the solutions we give here. Yeah? As a matter of fact, Boston Carnival. Let me get you a solution that the PNM, the PNM, with most of the black supporters in Trinidad and Tobago, yeah? Let me get you a solution. We had a solution of the Lavantil to Wall Street Empowerment Center. Here, Boston Carnival, we had a solution for the Lavantil to Wall Street Empowerment Center. You see, like how the UNC gave David Mohammed a piece of land in Prisgalan? I don't know if you know about that, but let me educate you a little bit. And he put up the Kwame Tourist Center now that's dealing with youth in that Beaterman environment and outside of there as well, and educating them and uplifting them. Well, the former Workers' Bank building, right, could have been the Lavantil to Wall Street Empowerment Center for poor black disadvantaged youths in Mova, Lavantil, and environs. But you know what your party did? Boston Carnival? You know what your party did? By the way, when is Boston Carnival? You know what you did? You know what they did? Eh? Caller, hold on. You know what they did? Boston Carnival? They mash it down like chili, baby. You know, and people like you and Patty and Gordon Joseph and PNM Fox say, yeah, don't give Wall Street no building, don't give him no building. And they own people. Caller, welcome.
Hi, good evening again to one and all. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.
You
have 3 minutes, sir. Caller, you have 3 minutes, sir, because we close to the top of the hour.
I will take less than that.
Okay.
I listened to the announcement too about the $1 million and see the responses. Not surprising, but of course disappointing because the reality is it have government and it have entities that are not directly under government. It have entities that they operate, and at the end of the year, they give massive bonuses and so on to executive members and government had nothing to do with that. Government cannot interfere with that. Cars, trips abroad, and all these different things. Having said that, these entities that are involved with this matter, with the divers that lost their life, which was so fortunate and unfortunate, and still condolences I extend to the families. These people, prompted by, of course, the We Versus Them members, trying to say the government had to do and the government had to do. This is not a government thing. These places have insurance and have things set up to deal with things like these.
Caller, can I stop you a minute? Caller, you're making no sense. Here's why. Listen, here's why. The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago is the government, and he's telling them now he's going to give them $1 million each. How that have nothing to do with the government?
I could finish now?
Yeah, go ahead, finish.
Thank you. Yeah. So these just like, for example, the TTFA, which is responsible for football, or the NTAs that is responsible for athletics. You understand? These bodies can make recommendations to the government, and the government could take action. But the moment the government, if something happened at WASA or TNTech, or at this body as it happened there, and the government, they will be setting up precedent so that anytime anything happen now, this is how they will have to treat it. These places have insurance to deal with these things. And I commend the government that they're taking so bloody long. They're going back and forth. They spend about 50 million, which I'm not too sure if the government was going to do that in the first instance. But the pumping of those on the other side saying, call him commission of inquiry coming before they try to push to get compensation for the people. They were commission of inquiry because they figure they could sink some government minister or something like that. That 15 million could have shared with the 4 families, but no, they were commission of inquiry. So now the government take a position of to at least for now, give them $1 billion, and I applaud that. That is very, very commendable. But the hating is only to hear from all you with that. But the families must be glad for that little thing to start.
Thank you. Thank you. Folks, put your closing comment in chat. Put your closing comment in the chat and send your closing voice notes. Put your closing quotes as well. Right? And yeah. Talk like that.
Yeah, Mr. Handsome. Mr. Handsome, Mr. Tommy. You see, from today, I done with that Gordon Joseph. You see that Gordon Joseph? Gordon Joseph is a big old idiot. Then you have human beings in a pipe for how long was living and they couldn't rescue them. And you talk about compensation. You talk about human life and you just come and talk about God. Gordon Joseph is a dog, brother. He's a dog. He's a big dog.
Leave it. Don't we don't get into name callings. We don't get into name callings. Don't get into name callings. Yeah. Tommy. Tommy. PNM Fox, or should the government give an S gratia payment? What? Tommy, I think anyway. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. Seriously. I don't know.
You know, I'm not even trying to figure it out because as far as I'm concerned, it's just pure ignorance that has been spurned by sycophancy.
Yeah, I mean, you how could you try to defend that with them divers, boy? How could you try to defend that, boy? Really and truly. I mean, 3 years, boy? 2 to 3 years?
Over 3 years, because it's February of 22.
2022. Right? Over 3 years, and all in a sudden, he had an epiphany. Not an epiphany, an epiphany. And you wake up to say, oh, you know what? We go get them $1 million each. And you were sitting down right next to the man who was the prime minister. Why you couldn't suggest that to him? Oh, you know what?
And the last caller talking about insurance.
I'm not listening to that dunce thing. I'm not listening.
You know, when you really think about it, you just stop and you say, boy, Trinidad has to be in a mess, you know. When you think about these big grown men who just run them out, they don't even think about what the hell they're saying. They're just running them out.
Let me take this voice note and we're going to take the break.
Good night again, Wall Street and Uncle Tommy. Here now, am I hearing wrong that Gordon Finder should have given the people and them that money, do hold an inquiry as to why those 4 men were left to die in the pipe? They were neglected in the pipe. If we did not have that inquiry, we would not have known that Paria and them was playing God and left those men there to die. And you coming to talk nonsense about they should have given the people the money and leave that so? Gordon, you see when you lie down and you not put yourself in the pipe and see how you feel. I don't know what you and Patty and all this be thinking about. They were human beings. You wouldn't even leave an animal there. And that is all this thinking. All you need some anonymous group, you know. All you need an anonymous group. Not for that kind of thinking. Thanks a lot.
And here, Patty, Wall Street, will you ever allow your family to go down there? The fella diver wanted to go back down. Eh, Patty? He wanted to go back down. Oh, and they tell him no. He wanted to go back.
They hold him up at gunpoint.
Patty, all you ain't serious. All ain't serious. The man family was down there. If he had to dead, let him dead. He wanted to go back down there. Well, just to defend all your party. just to defend your party. Yeah, to defend your party. Nobody could have rescued that divers from the pipe. You hear that? Nobody could have rescued those divers.
Did anybody try?
PNM Fox is a diver now. He went from an engineer to a diver. He dived. He dived before. He was diving. All you're good enough, boy. Just to defend all your party. All right, folks, we're going to take that break. We'll be right back. Stick and stay. It's In the Village with Uncle Tommy, Professor Wall Street, and you. And I will play, we'll play Caribbean.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
Welcome to WZYE TV 95.9 FM. We come to you every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. And on Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. on Let's Talk Politics. Like, share and subscribe to keep up to date with reality affecting your life. And as we always say, we bring the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
And folks, that was done by Caribbean Soul. Caribbean Soul, take a bow. Okay, let me give my yeah, Jolene John get a safe seat in UNC for Couva North. Yeah, she deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it does do. You work hard and you get rewarded. Oh God. Dean can't say engineer, more like an engine far. Oh God. Yeah, well, it ain't easy, you know. It's not easy. Let me give my closing comment. Let me give my closing comment. My closing comment. Is this it? No, that's not it. Okay, here we go.
Lord, today is Thursday, April 3rd, and I come before you with an open heart and full of faith. Thank you, my God, for another day, for another chance to begin again. Today, I don't want to just exist. I want to live with purpose, with courage, and with wisdom. Deliver me from all evil, from every trap, from everything that tries to pull me away from your ways. Guide my steps, shine light on my decisions, and give me discernment in the face of challenges. Let no cursed word, no negative energy, and no envious gaze have power over me. Pour over me a spirit of gratitude, because even with the struggles, I recognize you have taken care of every detail in my life. Renew my mind, strengthen my heart, and give me boldness to overcome what once paralyzed me. Today, Lord, I choose to trust that what doesn't make sense now will become a testimony tomorrow, to trust in your plans and rest in your love and protection. Amen.
From where I said this is it, the clock on the wall said that's all I like to say, but I've got to go. Remember, hard work beats talent. When talent does not work hard, and for every 60 seconds of anger, you lose 1 minute of happiness. Remember, your circumstances may determine who you are, but you are responsible for who you become. Tommy, go ahead.
Gloria, as I probably said it wrong. As the line says, I change myself, I change my world. I change myself, I change my world. Like I always say, you, the man in the mirror, you have to become that change that you want to see. However, if you look in that mirror and you don't like what you see, you cannot blame the mirror. Never look down on a person unless you're giving them a hand up. Love you all. Be safe out there. See you at our next session, which is scheduled to be on Sunday, but maybe on Saturday we'll come to you. So we'll take it in stride. Good night.
Thank you, Tommy.
You're welcome.
Okay, let me see the voice notes.
Haru, haru.
I've been called worse than that. Thank God I wasn't called collect. My closing comments. It is so unfortunate, but thank God. The only reason why I ain't give up is thank God from time to time I hearing people coming out, people who catching the drift, people who understanding what is happening. The reversers them and like they deciding they don't want to be a part of that. Mr. Lala, Mr. Parak, Mr. Victor, and I could call so many names. They get into that place where they realize, boy, this reversers them is not helping the country. It are individuals that it appeasing them and it making them feel good, it making the muscle relax and thing, but it not helping the country. Oh gosh, but you don't have to go and study rocket science to understand that there are bodies that have different responsibilities.
Hold on. Let me say this, Michael, we're not gonna have that type of comment in the chat, okay? We're not gonna we don't have those type of comments in the chat, all right? Okay? We don't have those type of comments. You gotta keep it clean, all right? Just so you know.
And the insurance are the people who were supposed to be dealing with that. But they are so glad when the politics get involved, you understand, that they could just rock back so and hope that the government get everybody $55 million and they don't have to do nothing. My wife was involved in an accident with her car. She wasn't wrong, fully comprehensive. And you know how much run around she had to get from a big insurance company in this company, in this country? Because that is how they operate. They would like to see things settle without they jumping out a bloody cent. But you every year look at the kind of money you paying. Oh God, look at the reality of the thing now, boy. And stop thinking about we versus them, red and yellow. Gosh, everything is red and yellow, boy. Oh God, check all yourself, Nelson. Oh God, wreck all yourself, boy. Oh gosh, man, that's why so much of people live in the yellow. That is why, because they're just not looking through both eyes and listening through both ears.
Hey, Michael, it's not the Boston Michael. It's the Michael that's not the Boston, okay? Just to clarify that. It's the Michael who put the comment with regards to Reed, okay?
Sleep good tonight. And I am totally aware. That who don't like to hear my voice at all. But that's how it was with the Chumacan too. They don't like to hear your voice at all when Google show. No. If you hear what they used to be saying, cut off that man. Why you give that man so much at time? But we still get the opportunity to talk, and I know why I'm saying I'm not lying. Because I've been put to the test. I've been put to the test. Folk, let me get it right now. Forget about the yellow and red now. Let me get it right now. Let me think country now. And we ain't got to think about hell. All right? God loves you and he's not interested in anybody going to hell. Have a good night.
Good night, Mr. Washington, Uncle Tommy. Mr. Washington, this is my closing comment. The PNM empty the treasury fast. But somebody stepdaughter cocaine pass. Call them but want to bring in new sports car. But Keith Crowley cutting these in Venezuela. Stuart Young want to increase the card. But that is the same government who cut it in half.
There you go.
I think that was Gordon Dryden was calling there and talking about the divers. But let me tell you something. I believe the management in Pyria had to do a lot with what take place with them divers and them and they die. They leave these people there to dead, right? And if they had a civil matter in court where they could have get prosecuted, all of them would have been in jail right now. Understand? But the UNC say they're going to bring legislation which could charge people for that. So that is one good thing I had to look forward to. So that if anything like this ever take place in the future, that those who are responsible and they know who they is would be jailed forthwith. They will get locked up. They will have to pay just like all these individuals were at that airport And in Piaco had to pay, they will have to pay out of their own funds for these people that they treated and they killed. That is what I look forward to. Hopefully that will come off if they win the election.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Bitcoin. And Michael, apologies accepted. All right. That's how we just do it in here. And Boston Michael. All right, we go call you Boston Michael. So we distinguish between the Michael, Boston Michael, and Michael. So Michael, that's how we just do it here, right? Your apology is accepted. We want to keep it respectful, right? Because we have people from all different that are support all different type of parties and everything else. And when we started this program, we said we're gonna allow people from all different parties to come in and have their say, but we're gonna keep it respectful. All right. Let me see this other voice note. Oh God, voice notes are the last time, boy.
Hey, good night again, Mr. Hanson, Mr. Tommy. Good night, all the callers, all the Texas, everybody live. Till we meet again on Sunday. Blessings to you guys and your family. Hey, Mr. Hanson, I apologize for Mr. Hanson. That man going Joseph, but you hurt my feelings. But I human life, but Mr. Hanson, but
I
human
know.
life. That could have been my son. That could
Yeah,
have been my father. That could have been my brother. That could have been my best friends.
yeah, I know.
That could have been my grandfather. Who was left in a pipe to die.
Yeah.
And this man talking money. We feel money is coming in for love. Yeah. You think that we go to say money? When you can't touch and you can't feel and you can't tell somebody I love you and I can't tell somebody, hey, let me go down the road, let me do something. You took my money to go and Joseph. I apologize again, Mr. Hanson, but sorry for carrying on like that.
No, man, no scene at all. No scene at all. You know what it is? We just keep it real.
Yeah, good night, Professor Walsh. I don't know if you'll get this, but this is for Gordon. Gordon, there's something called Corporation Soul. Corporation Soul is in charge of all organizations owned by the state. And for Petrotrin and TPHL, it was Commonwealth, and his boss was Keith Christopher Rowley. So just as how Mrs. Kamala Bisesa Prasad could say she would have settled and paid off the divers in the pipe, Gordon, same how Mr. Young could pay $1 million. They don't have to go through anything because you don't know Gordon. The Corporation Soul is the shareholder on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago taxpayers and citizens. You need to edify yourself, my brother. You're not edified. Have a good night.
And that's what we just do here. We just try to educate. We miseducated. Oh God. All right. All right. Let me see. Koreans say Gordon speak all that crap and not $1 they put in his offering. And Miss Santa Cruz, and if my sentiment actually is a mocking pretender. Oh God, boy, Gordon, why? Gordon, practice what you preach. Stop seeing the red too. Mr. Intellectual, Mr. Maloney, you are not a man of your word. Same thing as pot calling the kettle bottom black. Okay. Oh, hear the ignorance. He overloved Larry and Victor though. Okay. Yeah. Gordon run 100 people off the life, shaking my head. Oh God. All right, let me see some closing comments here. Oh, Patricia, you continue making excuses for wrongdoing. They will stop from rescuing those men, but karma will deal with you. All right, last voice note.
Good night again, Wall Street and Uncle Tommy. Gordon, when you stop seeing the red, we will stop seeing the yellow. Right? You must practice what you preach.
Oh God, boy. Go and take your licks, yes. Miss Santa Cruz closing comment. The less talent they have, the more pride, vanity, and arrogance they have. All those fools, however, find other fools to applaud them. Erasmus. Hey boy, like that is Erasmus. Another fellow Who the name after Erasmus High School, guy? Let me see if there's any other closing comments here. Hold on here. Michael Smith says, Boston, Michael. Long live and continued prosperity, gentlemen. Daryl C. Prasad says, one love to all. Mr. Intellectual closing comment. The word D is the word of the day. Dumb, dotish, dunce. That is the intelligence of the people who defend the PNM. All right, folks, we out of here. We see you on Sunday. Same WZYE time, same WZYE channel. Of course, it's in the village with Uncle Tommy, Professor Wall Street, and you on WZYE 95.9 FM. Okay, a song going through. All right. So, folks, good night. And I want to play, we normally play this as the top of the hour when we first start. So I want to play that before we go. Good night, everyone.
Is Pharaoh still existing? I see the poor resembling an Israelite, not being treated right, enslaved day and night. Oh, we just can't go on this way. We just can't go on this way. Please deliver us today. We just can't go on this way. We like the Israelites still in pain. We just can't go on this way. So send us another Moses again. We just can't go on this way. Oh, 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 oh. Lord, look around, you'll see the Pharaoh mentality ruling universally. Leaders promoting their ego, being a modern Pharaoh, tyrannies they manifest. We just can't go on this way. We just can't go on this way. Please deliver us today. We just can't go on this way. Time to make them oppressors pay. We just can't go on this way. So we children could see their way. We just can't go on this way. Oh, 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 oh. No, 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 no. The poor have to slave night and day for next to nothing pay, so they can't see the way. We don't enjoy equal facility like Pharaoh and company. Brainwashing we say we free. We just can't go on this way. We just can't go on this way. Please deliver us today. We just can't go on this way. Time to make them oppressors pay. We just can't go on this way. So the children could see their way. We just can't go on this way. Oh, 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 oh. we just can't go on this way. Please deliver us today. We just can't go on this way. We just can't go on. We just can't go on this way. No, we just can't go on. We just can't go on this way. No, we just can't go on. We just can't go on this way. No, we just can't go on. Oh Lord, why Lord must we suffer like this? You said that you will take care of the poor, just like you did in Egypt. When Pharaoh had the Israelites in bondage, you delivered them. But here again, we are in the same khaki pants. We have those modern Pharaohs who oppress the poor, who represents Israel. They confuse us with so much lie. Not even thinking that we will realize. And if we criticize, we could be ostracized. We don't know who to trust. That's why I say, Lord,